In a world of remakes and remasters,
Are we playing for keeps?
what was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame.
Red.
Gone are the days of Pops and Cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot. Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. This is Best Gen, where nerds complain about nerdy things. It's called Best Gen because we all happen to be from the same gen, and we just think that it's the best. But not because we as people are better than you, but because our entertainment was. So, strap on in, buckle up, and prepare to wax nostalgic as we reminisce upon the days of yore, whilst at the same time complaining about the days of the right now. Because movies are bad now, and they.
You can say the days of bore.
Oh goodness, that's it. It would rhyme, but we reminisce upon the days of yore and complain about the days of bore. It's a little silly, but it kind of works. Anyway, movies bad now. Movies used to be good then. How's everybody doing?
Anywhere. Doing fine.
It's your birthday. How are you just doing fine? Come on.
I mean, yesterday was the birthday party, so yesterday I was doing way better, maybe.
Now maybe you're still recovering.
It was,
Here we
quiet night. Let's just call it that way.
go. Here we go.
Yeah, everybody was asleep by 12. We play Mario Party. The good old ones, the ones on GameCube, the Mario Party 5, Mario Party 4.
Those are good
Those
ones.
Mario Parties are great.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And board games, actually.
We need a bunch of smashes in the chat for the Angry Mex's birthday. He's survived another trip around the sun, and we're going to celebrate tonight by not talking about the Mandalorian, baby.
Gracias.
All right. See you guys later. No, I'm just kidding.
We don't have a schedule. There's nothing on the docket to discuss, but we're going to talk for a long time anyway. We're going to be talking just, favorite movies, and we're going to be recommending. We're going to be doing a lot of reminiscing this week. We're going to be recommending movies that you could be watching instead of the filth that's in Hollywood, and we're going to be wishing the Angry Mexa a happy birthday. So, Feliz cumple. We're going to refrain from doing the sexy Marilyn Monroe birthday song for Angry Mexa. I don't think
that's for after the stream.
That's for after. That's for the private stream, for the members only stream. We'll do a.
Go for Mark Clark.
Sorry. Correction, for the member only stream. If Mark, if you want to join us, we'll all we'll sexy sing happy birthday to Angry Mexa, and Mark Clark can just watch.
Oh my god!
I don't know if Mark's that kind of guy.
it was worth it, Mark. So yeah, you better freaking join.
We're missing David and we're missing Corwin today because Corwin's sick apparently. Playing the double dragon, if you know what I mean.
I
Sure.
have the feeling I don't want to know what he means.
It means he's sick, and my brother's got a thing. So it's just us. It's going to be cozy, but it's going to be fun. There's a little bit of news, and yeah, it's fun. Oh, I got the Anger Mexa. I've got a wonderful little stinger for you that I made just for your birthday. It's complete. I promise, it's definitely completely original and not derivative of any previous stingers. I made it specifically for you, so don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Here you go. Congratulations! Oh gosh, I clicked on the wrong one.
Okay.
I clicked on the wrong stinger. Sorry. Oh
It's one
gosh.
heck of a birthday celebration.
This is embarrassing. Sorry. Here's here. This is your original stinger. Congratulations! Oh my gosh, I spelled it wrong. Congratulations! Congratulations on that birthday, buddy.
Goodness.
There was a joke in American Dad where it says that BJ was breakfast juice, so so it was not off. Wasn't that off? Mm-hmm.
Mark, knowing you, you do not have to start the movies at the beginning. You just start them wherever the heck you want.
Well, most movies you should probably start from the beginning.
Yeah.
We got
there's at least one. I think it's called. Oh shoot. You should watch it backwards because it plays backwards.
Memento.
Memento. That's the one I was thinking of.
Now watch it forwards. It's better when it's backwards. Because that's a sentence that makes sense. Corwin's already participating in the chat. Count of Monte Cristo, from 2002. Great movie. Kind of horrible adaptation. No, it's not a. It's
No,
not.
It is.
It's not a bad adaptation because it is, but
It is.
it captures a lot of the spirit of the book. It doesn't even change a lot from the book. It's just a fraction of the story, really. But the Count of Monte Cristo it's pretty long, right? And
My wife is literally making me read the book because it destroyed the book. So
it's one of my mom's favorite books too.
Yeah, it's a great book. Yeah, I mean,
It's
in
really good.
what I've read, we've gotten pretty far into it, and it's pretty good. It's a really good book. But that's the thing, Corey. I love the movie too, and that's why she's making me read the book because she's like, it's not even as good as the book. The book is so much better.
Yeah,
and
I would
doesn't do it justice.
I would call it a bad adaptation, but it's a great film.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
That's actually something that we did have in Mexico. That was some of those movies that for some reason the Mexican television broadcasting networks were actually buying those movies. Maybe they were cheaper. I don't know.
I mean, the film too. It's incredibly well acted. It's got a young Henry Cavill.
What?
Yeah, Henry Cavill is the Count's son. The character, he's the son. Oh, sorry, that's a spoiler. He's his girlfriend's son.
No way. Okay, I gotta check this out.
Yeah, it's Guy Pearce as the best friend baddie, which is
I know, yeah.
Which is he's
Every time I see him in anything else now, he's just bad. He's just bad.
With the delivery of when he's talking about Or when he's talking to who plays the girl Mercedes? It's some French chick who's I don't think has been in a lot of films.
Dagmara
Dagmara.
Dominskis.
When their conversation about like why he did it, and he's like, she says to him like, you were more happy. He was more happy with his little whistle than you were with with your pony or whatever. And she's like, I don't want to be your next pony or your little whistle.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, it totally is.
Yeah, it's Henry Cavill as the kid.
It doesn't even really look. I mean, it does look like him, but I would never have thought of that. Never would have thought that.
And it's got the Passion of the Christ as Edmond Dantes and Luis Guzman as just great, so good.
What happened to Jim Caviezel?
He did TV. He did the Person of Interest for a while, but yeah, he kind of stepped away from films.
Oh yeah. Person of Interest is great. I love that TV show.
Yeah, I never.
Yeah, it was just funny that he was big like for like 5 years. Like he was literally big like for 5 years, and then he moved into cable TV.
Yeah, if you're tracking the timeline, he played Jesus Christ and then fell off the face of Hollywood. Is there a connection? Probably.
Wasn't he struck by lightning like 3 times during the filming of the movie too?
Jesus, literally.
I don't know. Someone Google that because
it's one of those interesting, just one of those stories you hear around of like,
But it's also got Richard Harris though as the old guy in the prison who just gives just a marvelous performance. That was not long before he died too.
Yeah.
That was right before he died. That's the same year.
No, that can't be true. Because is this before or after Harry Potter? This was in
during.
Yeah, because that's when he passed away. Was in Harry Potter, and I think Count of Monte Cristo is before Harry Potter, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's like
he died in October of 2002, and the movie came out in 2002.
Oh, you're right. Yep.
Which is, I don't know what month. January. So yeah, it was about a year after. Sure.
That's crazy.
I mean, obviously, he filmed it probably 2 years before then. So it was a while. The release coincided pretty closely. Anyway, that's a good movie. So yeah. Recommend that one. Also, read the book though, because it's better.
Yeah,
I'm gonna read the book because the movie I already saw it and it was a pretty good movie. But if you're saying that the book is better,
yeah, it's pretty good.
That's.
I mean, when is the book not better though?
What's it called? No. What is it? It's Neil Gaiman.
It's not Stardust, is it?
Stardust.
Yeah, Stardust.
Stardust is a really good movie.
I love Stardust.
I haven't read the book. But...
Film's way better.
Stardust is so good.
The book is kind of gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In what sense?
It's really sexual.
Oh.
Unnecessarily, and there's just weird stuff in it. And the movie is I love Stardust. The Stardust, when I first saw it, I was in theaters. I was like, "This is the new Princess Bride."
Yep, yeah. That's the way that I've heard it described. That I think is a really good. It's like it's the next.
Really?
It's not
is
the
this
same
the same
as
movie?
Princess Bride, but it's like it's a new.
It's
like
the same spirit.
Generation's Princess Bride.
It's the same spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was just wonderfully made. Fiddler on the Roof. That's Mark Clark's favorite movie, and that is a film that
on the Roof is a movie. What?
It's a music. It's a musical. Yeah,
from Sondheim, right? Or who is the guy? Who's the guy?
I don't think it's Sondheim. No.
He's Jewish. We know that for sure.
Jerry Brock. The playwright was Joseph Stein.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know too much about them. Yeah, I would say Fiddler on the Roof is an important film that everyone
Fiddler on the
should
Roof.
watch.
Very good. I quite enjoy
Why
it.
it's about the World War II?
No, it's that's the setting, kind of. It's about
Does it put
Jews.
us in, like, Russia?
It's not about the war. The war is happening in the background. But it's about Jews living in Russia who get expulsed from Russia, and but that's just the setting. The movie is about tradition and the clashing of tradition and
Like
Progress.
modernality,
Yeah.
and the music is fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Green Mile, apparently, the book sucks.
It's like Geismer. Geismer. What is the name of it?
Did watch the movie. It's a good movie. Sorry, what was that?
Green Mile is a horror author, right? I'm really having brain farts today. Weirdo on Twitter.
Which is the Green Mile?
It's the horror author, the guy who's the famous for writing horror. Stephen King.
Oh,
Gosh, Stephen King. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard there are it's Stephen King adaptations are weird. They're either horrible or better than the book.
You said weirdo, and I thought a weirdo author, and I thought you must be talking about Brandon Sanderson or maybe Orson Scott Card, but
Oh, right, because they're weirdo Mormons.
yep.
No, yeah. Oh, Stephen King is so annoying on Twitter. It's
Oh yeah,
I had to block. I have to like just filter that out because man, he's annoying. Yeah. His adaptations are weird. They're either really horrible or better than his book. Like The Shining is way better than the book.
Well, that's not because that was because of Kubrick.
Yeah. But then you get like Lawnmower Man and okay. Yeah, Jews
He
be
has
kicked out of
pretty
Russia,
bad
so-
books. He has pretty bad books.
He's got some good ones too. I'm looking forward to reading the Dark Tower. It's on my list. I have it already. I just haven't gotten to it.
I will never read The Shining. It's too long.
It's too long.
I prefer watching the movie because the movie is better.
Movie's really good.
Although they say that the book is way better than both the movies.
I like the new movie. We lost.
Oh,
Both shared
the
at the same time.
the first one for the new
I like both of them. I liked
series.
the problem with the new It movies is you don't need both of them. I think they're both really well made though. Like just cinematography wise, like there was some stuff in It Part 2 that it was just filmed beautifully, like with the psychological stuff and like just them like traveling through the sewers and getting there with like the perspective shifts and stuff. Like
There is a
it was
weird.
wonderful. Yeah,
What?
but
We
the
cannot
book,
say that, dude.
yeah, don't. The book is disgusting. The book has weird scenes at the end with the kids. They get traumatized because they beat up a big monster, and then they all take turns. There's only one girl. That's what I'll say. It's a gross book.
Okay.
Stephen King is
what
a
wrong with
weird guy.
Stephen King. What the hell?
Well, you have to go to a certain place to be able to write horror, I guess.
Hollywood?
Hollywood.
You
That's the place you have to go.
have to go to Hollywood.
I was
Okay.
wondering what is wrong with that. Yeah, with people that like Stephen King, and why would you write that?
Yeah.
I mean, if you are like a teenager in your 15 years old and you're writing for 15 years olds, even then it's weird. But
It's
then
on.
it's not illegal. But
So, to give the stream
Jesus.
some structure, so we're not just bouncing off of the walls, I thought I'd start off with like my top 5 films of all time, like just my favorite ones, and then we'll take a break with some like news / bad takes. It was really hard to disambiguate the news from the bad takes, so we're just going to do them all together this time. But yeah, I feel like that's a good structure, and then we'll get into like categories, like best cheesy action movie. So my top 5
Yeah.
of all time, I think they're perfect films. Which has evolved over time. There's some that have gone off and on the list. First off, you need the disclaimer, the caveat that the Lord of the Rings trilogy doesn't count because they are just they're literal perfection, and they don't feel like a movie to me. They're so long; it's an experience,
The extended.
right?
One.
So, and it would be stupid to have Lord of the Rings 1, 2, and 3 on my top 5 list.
Yeah, what a lot of people I've seen will do is they'll take things like that or the original Star Wars, and they'll be like, that is a whole thing on its own. As number 1 is Lord of the Rings, or is all 3 of these.
So,
Star
Lord of the
Wars also doesn't count.
Lord of the Rings, cinematic perfection, greatest of all time. Nothing can be better. My top 5 are just like pure like enjoyment, and like I think they've perfected their niche, and they're also kind of important films, like message wise. My number 1, they're not in any order because they're all different. You know, it's hard to compare genres. Like, what's your favorite comedy of all time versus your favorite action movie of all time? But compared to each other, like, what are you even rating? You know, like, oh, is one better than the other? But they're trying to do different things, right? So, not in any order, The Man of La Mancha, which is the musical film adaptation of Don Quixote. It's perfection.
How long is it? Because how would you? It's a long book. How could...
It cuts most of the book, but
I mean-
it's wonderful because the music is fantastic. And it's weird. I don't love musicals. I don't hate them, but they can be annoying. So it's got to be done well for me to like it. But The Man of La Mancha has wonderful music, and it's a incredible message. It just distills like the highlights that most of the parts that everyone knows about Don Quixote. And I have read Don Quixote in Spanish and English, by the way. Points for me. So I like the story.
No one in Mexico has. No one.
That's right. I'm better than Mexicans. So
no, dude, unless they studied, you know.
It's a long book, and it's like reading Shakespeare. It's old English, old Spanish. It's tough. Like, I needed a professor. I took it in college with reading English and Spanish side by side, and a professor to explain everything.
But you took it.
But it was great.
America, right?
Huh?
That was in America, right?
Yeah.
Because in Mexico, I tell you, bro, like, you really need to literally only if you study literatura española or literature in Spanish.
Yeah, my degree is in Spanish. I graduated college with a Spanish degree. So, anyway, the movie just takes the highlights, like he fights the windmill and all this, like, takes the highlights, but it like wraps the whole story around the actual real life of the author, Miguel de Cervantes. And so the film is more about Cervantes than it is about Don Quixote. And it parallels their two lives. It shows Cervantes being arrested by the Spanish Inquisition, which happened, I believe, like 30 times. And he was never executed. He always talked his way out. because he's a freaking genius. So he always got in trouble with the Spanish Inquisition because he was constantly calling them out, and they wanted to kill him really badly. And so the movie starts off with him going to prison, and then being in this horrible prison, he puts on the play of Don Quixote for the prisoners, and like it gives them hope and stuff. Like they're gonna like burn his manuscripts, and so he has to like prove his value as an author, and they're like making fun of him. So he puts on the story and like gives these prisoners like a purpose and hope, but also like centers. It's like the parallels are wonderful. It's a perfectly framed movie, and the message is fantastic. And I've sampled like monologues from the film that are heavily being used in the album that I'm writing, my music, which I'm really excited for. It's good. It's really good. One of my favorite quotes from the movie is he's talking about madness and how the world has gone crazy and everyone is super pessimistic. And he's like, he went to war, he served in war and saw a bunch of people die. So he's talking about death and all this crazy stuff. And he's saying like who really knows what madness is? Because they pause in the middle of the play and he gives this monologue, and he's saying like we're studying Don Quixote and his madness, but like the world is just as mad. And so like he ends the soliloquy by saying like, who knows where madness lies? But I've seen all these horrible things, but I think that the maddest thing of all is to see the world as it is, but not as it should be. Which is just a great message of like, yeah, the world is crazy and we should try to make it better. It's called The Man of La Mancha, and it's great. That's number one.
When's the date of when was that released?
60s. It's Peter O'Toole as the lead.
Gotta be early 60s, right? Is it
72? So 70, early 70s. Yeah. It's great. You only know the Bugs Bunny version. Yeah. I haven't seen that one. Yeah. So anyway,
that's more known in Mexico than
so the Don Quixote is probably just one of the most important movies of all time. It's wonderful. That's number one, and the other four are more fun. But it's Stranger Than Fiction with Will Ferrell.
I love that movie. That I was going to bring that one up too. It's so underrated. Like
it's perfect. It's perfection. It's perfection.
I remember seeing the trailers for the. Weird. Can you hear me?
You're cutting out, but you're better now.
Okay, sorry, because it shows like I'm still muted on the thing, but for some
you're good.
I'm not. Anyway, because I'm looking at Jared. Anyway, I remember seeing the trailers for that one, thinking it looked really, really interesting, and then I didn't see it until recently.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's the perfect blend of comedy and drama.
Yeah,
it is hilarious and also like super emotional, and then just the message at the end is just like, oh baby, that's good. And it's also just bizarre, like just crazy, and the acting is wonderful. I love Will Ferrell doing drama.
But again, there's definitely comedy involved too. So
no, it's funny.
Well, that's the first time I watched it, and I was like, oh, like Will Ferrell actually is a really good actor.
Yeah, no, he's a really good actor, and I wish he would do more like this.
A lot of those comedic actors are also really good.
Friggin' Adam Sandler, when he does drama, it's like, why are you making comedies, dude?
So you also look at Robin Williams, great comedic actor, but also really good with some of his. I don't love Robin Williams comedy. Yeah, and I enjoy him in his comedy movies like Mrs. Doubtfire and like as a genie in Aladdin and things like
I
that.
really don't like his stand-up. It's
Yeah.
like I don't like it when he just does the reference humor.
Mm,
And so like I don't really like him in Aladdin.
mm.
Because all
Which
it
is
is
good.
is a
There's a
bunch of
ton of
dated references that you're like,
the thing
I
is,
don't
he's
know
great at
what he's talking about.
impersonations. That's his thing. His impersonation.
Phenomenal.
Yo,
Great at
yo.
impersonations.
Like he says in Mrs. Doubtfire, he does voices.
Yeah.
He does voices. That's him.
But watch
I love
Aladdin
him on when he
in
showed up
Spanish.
on
Yeah,
whose
who
son
does
is it anyway?
who does the voices in Spanish?
God knows, but
But they're good?
it's really good. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll put that on my list.
because if you don't understand the reference, you probably would understand the reference in Spanish. They're I don't know, they are more updated
Yeah.
for some reason. I didn't even know it was Robin Williams
Mhm.
until people were saying, "Oh, Will
Because
Smith."
you've never actually heard his voice.
Yeah, all I know is the when he's like, "Oh, talk about Congress, whatever." The bad imitation that people do about.
I like Robin Williams when he does drama. Mrs. Doubtfire is probably his best comedy.
Yeah, it's one of the best ones there.
I don't know. I haven't analyzed it, so I need to think.
I just
But
have so
Mrs.
much
Doubtfire
fun
is
with
pretty
Aladdin that even though I like a lot of the references would have gone over my head, especially as a kid, like Aladdin in general is a lot of fun, and he's just
Yeah.
so goofy. Anyway, sorry, I'm distracting a little bit.
No, it's good. It's good. This is. You think we're not going to go on tangents, baby?
But no, definitely like the idea of those comedic actors are actually really good with dramatic stuff, and you as you look at someone like Robin Williams and the stuff that he went through
in Good Will Hunting, he's amazing.
The comedic actors, a lot of times they're comedic actors or they become comedians because there's a lot of darkness in them, and like they struggle with a lot of things like Robin Williams did.
Yeah.
And so like that lends well to being able to do well as a dramatic actor as well. Usually it seems to,
I have never seen Mork and Mindy. I'm assuming it's a comedy.
Yeah. It's actually a TV show. It's an old TV show.
Yeah, it's a TV show.
So, yeah,
I'm looking at I'm looking at the poster, and I'm assuming it's a comedy.
He's an alien come to Earth and
oh right, okay, yeah, no, okay,
nanu and stuff like that. Yeah. So
is it good?
Oh, he's the Nanu guy.
I haven't actually watched it, but yeah, he's the nanu guy from.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, that.
Mark, look, are you recommending Mork and Mindy, or are you providing it as an example of his bad comedy? Because I don't know, I haven't seen it.
There's actually a little bit that went around, right? Oh, it was actually a couple of years ago now, so it was after he died, but it was not too long after. He's been since then. Of a guy who does a really good impersonation of Robin Williams, doing a bit of him from of like when Robin Williams was working on Mork and Mindy and heard about John Candy dying, and boy, that was a really cool and really powerful.
Oh, John Candy, man,
yeah,
such a monument.
But it also like shows a lot of like again, this guy he's a comedian and like an impersonator, like he does impressions and stuff like that, like kind of like Robin Williams does, but he does a great job of like doing impressions of Robin Williams, and like he transforms. It's incredible. Jamie Costa is the actor's name, but he does has a little bit where he's doing Robin Williams finding out about John Candy dying, and it's really emotional and powerful because they were really close friends, and literally the night before, Robin and him had been out doing drugs together, and so it's this lady, his co-star on Mork and Mindy, coming to him and telling him, "I'm not going to let you do that. I'm not going to let you kill yourself the way John Candy just did with the drugs." So, and seeing him being like, just touched by that. Oh, I'm thinking of the wrong one. John Belushi, not Candy, but it was one of those guys.
Right. They were a lot of them went the same way. John Belushi, John Candy, ran down by the river. Chris Farley. Chris Farley.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, a lot of them went the same way.
Yep. Because again, they have a lot of darkness that they struggle with. They didn't always handle it great.
They all did.
Andy Kaufman.
They all did. The thingy. Can I mention it?
Tons of coke.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Man of the year.
Coca-Cola.
Man of the year.
Cobra Kai.
Oddly enough, was the first movie I saw with my husband before we saw Stranger Than Fiction. I have not seen Man of the Year, but I need to. So Mark was recommending Mork and Mindy. It's a good show, apparently. But the moral of the story is Stranger Than Fiction is fantastic. If we want another tangent, tonight I am drinking, for context, there are 3 constants in this universe: death, taxes, and if Mountain Dew releases a crazy flavor, I'm going to try it. So I'm drinking popsicle flavored Mountain Dew. The summer freeze. It is.
That's what's in here. Is my Mountain Dew mix?
It's really good.
Yeah. I've always been a Mountain Dew dude. My
it tastes like America, man.
My gamer tag on Xbox is Mormon Dude 1989, and it's because I have a shirt that has it's the Mountain Dew logo, but it says Mormon Dude. So yep, I've always been a Mountain Dew fiend.
Man of the year. Okay, I need to watch that one. Anyway, so that's my 2 favorites. Number 3 is Serenity.
Did you watch that before watching
yes.
Firefly? Yeah.
Yes.
I've heard a lot of people that came to it that way.
I saw it in theaters the same day I watched The Chronicles of Riddick. I did a double feature with my dad. We went on a daddy date. And we watched those 2 movies, and I was like, "Oh, Chronicles is pretty good." It's watching it now, it's pretty cheesy and the effects are horrible, but I had fun then. And then Serenity, I was like, forget Chronicles of Riddick. Serenity it was perfection. I think it's the greatest sci-fi ever made. And then a year later, I found out that there was more.
Yeah, and Firefly is so good. It's one of those things where they wrapped up what they needed to with Serenity.
Yeah.
But man, there was so much that they were setting up and so much to do from Firefly when it was canceled.
But they did an incredible job of making it stand alone while also just finishing the show.
Yep.
It was wonderful.
I need to rewatch.
Also, it has a really, really good message, which is the government sucks. The speech that he gives at the end is I don't want to spoil it, but they find out that the government has been doing bad things, trying to forcibly remove people. It's literally removing people's agency and forcing them to be good.
Just their drive, just their ambition.
And it goes horribly wrong. And they have to stop it, and they put everything on the line at the end with it, and the action, the effects, it's just perfect. The bad guy is terrifying.
Ejiofor.
And he gives the speech to the crew at the end where he's just they tried to bury this, but at some point in the future they're going to try again. In their hubris and their arrogance, they're going to try again. It went horribly, and they buried it. They're going to eventually come to the same conclusion that they can make people better, and I will not stand for that. It's just it's just an inspiring movie. And the government does suck. So the speech, the little monologue that the bad guy does in the beginning, it's like, do you know what your sin is? It's pride. And he pulls out a sword, and you're like, what the crap?
It's highly recommend Serenity for sure.
And he's just talking to the guy as he's paralyzed, just holding the sword out for him to fall on.
Mm-hmm.
No. Before he's like, in days long past, if officials failed as monumentally as you had, they would throw themselves upon their own swords. And the guy's like, well, I'm sorry, I didn't bring my saber to. Oh my! It's just so good.
Yeah.
Very good.
That is a good one.
I never heard of this movie ever. It looks so cool, but it never came to Mexico.
Yeah, so it's Joss Whedon who made the TV show Firefly, which got canceled because Fox is dumb, and then it was crowdfunded He raised enough money to make the movie to just tie everything up. And you don't even need to watch Firefly. You should watch Firefly.
Because
you don't need to.
Quite amazing.
You don't need to. You can just watch the movie, and it's wonderful.
I've heard several people who. Go ahead. You're fine.
So that's number 3. Great sci-fi. Number 4 is Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick.
No. Maverick.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're talking Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick is a fantastic movie. 9 out of 10. It's not a perfect. It's not. There's no.
You're talking about the Western one.
That's a popcorn movie. I'm talking about Maverick.
I actually think I have seen that movie because it's based on an old TV
it's
show,
the film. It's the film reboot of the old TV show. TV show's great. TV show's good. But Mel Gibson as Maverick. First off, it's peak Mel Gibson. He's like the peak of his physical prowess and his acting. Super sexy, super charismatic. He narrates the thing and stars in it, and he's just oozing charisma. And it's it's peak Jodie Foster, baby, who I had a massive crush on as a kid. Freaking Candle Shoe, Freaky Friday,
Candle Shoe, I love
Candle Shoe, and Freaky Friday, baby. I liked Jodie Foster, and she's all grown up in Maverick, and it's
no, we're doing this again, huh?
She's really good in the movie, and it's so fun, it's hilarious, it's action packed, it's poker baby, and it's funny. I don't want. There's like a big spoiler, which is like the funniest part of the movie. And it's like it's also a heist movie, and it's so good. It's so good. But there's like a I can't say it, but it's so.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
The best part of it, I literally can't spoil the movie. There is a relationship dynamic in this movie that just kills, and it's so good. And it's a spoiler, so I won't say it. But man, Maverick is wonderful. It's just a good old fashioned Western.
Yeah.
Number 5, for most of my life, was V for Vendetta.
It's been a long time since I've seen that one too.
Because it's a great movie, and increasingly has become more and more relevant to today's current political climate. It's some might say prophetic in that. It's a movie about the government manufacturing a virus to create, a panic and seize control and turn into a utilitarian government. And it's terrifying. It's wonderful. It's been bumped off of my top 5 because it's kind of like a little edgelord, It's a little bit too much watching it now, a little bit over the top, but obviously I loved the edgelord stuff when I was a kid. Still great, not top 5.
Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot.
Yeah, I could think of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. I could probably quote the majority of the movie, right? Voila! I won't do it. Great, yeah. But that's no longer on my top 5. It was bumped off by Baby Driver.
I heard great things about Baby Driver, and I missed that one in theaters.
Which is just a perfect film.
Yeah, because I remember you were talking about it, and you were saying the best part about that movie is that it's all like to the beats of the music.
Yes.
So like all the cuts and the scenes are all about
Baby Driver is a dance. the entire movie is choreographed to the soundtrack, and it's a car chase movie. You have car chases that are choreographed to the music, and it is wonderful. And it's Edgar Wright, who is my favorite director of all time. And screw you, Marvel Disney, for firing Edgar Wright from directing Ant-Man, because it could have been a great movie, and you chose mediocrity.
Still pretty good.
No, it's horrible. I hate it. I know Edgar Wright's directing style so well. I can see the seams in Ant-Man. I can see that, oh, he wrote this scene. Obviously did not write this. Oh, he wrote this, not this. And it's so jarring. And it could have been perfection.
Yeah, they removed him pretty early on in the process, though. I mean, they had him online for a while, and they removed him once they realized, oh, we're doing this whole MCU thing. Pretty early on, didn't they?
That's like halfway between. It's Ant-Man's like the halfway point.
Yeah, I'm just saying they removed him. I think pretty early on from when they were working on it on the movie.
No, he wrote the whole thing and was about to start filming.
It.
He was about to start filming it, and they're like, "No, screw you." So, a giant mechanical spider.
Yeah. See, I'm wondering if he's talking about Wild Wild West.
Are you talking about Wild Wild West? Which is a great movie. It's not good, but it's great.
So funny story is that there's a documentary that I've heard about, but I haven't actually seen. I've seen some people talking about how there's a movie that was being planned called Superman Lives, and it was going to have Nicolas Cage as Superman, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was that one. And was
Tim
that
Burton.
One that Kevin Smith? No, okay, maybe it was that. There was another one that Kevin Smith was going to work on. So maybe I'm thinking of the wrong one. It's not
the Superman movie. It was Tim Burton did the first two Batman movies, and then they're like, "Well, do Superman too," and then he got fired from both of those. So,
gotcha. So what I'm thinking of though is there was apparently a movie that Kevin Smith was working on that was supposed to be a Superman movie, and the producer of that one really decided he really wanted the big fight to be against a big giant mechanical spider, and Kevin Smith was like, "No, this is dumb. No," and he like got out of the project and decided not to do it. The next project that producer did was Wild Wild West. So It sounds like that was something that producer really wanted to have in there. So funny story about a giant mechanical spider.
It's a funny movie. It's dumb. It's horrible, but it's enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, I remember when it came out, but I don't think I ever ended up watching it. There's a lot of movies I haven't watched. It's only been the last little while that I've started trying to watch just about everything I can. But
I'm curious. What are Angry Mex's favorite movies?
Yeah. Do you guys have like a top 5? I know we didn't like prepare a whole lot for this, but if you want to you can share your tops of all time.
Let's do news, and let me get some water because I really need to drink some water. I'm kind of dehydrated, so
I'll mention two for me in particular because I don't usually have like a list of my tops, and I don't necessarily.
I don't do favorites. Like I've been curating my top 5 my entire life, like thinking about it and wrestling. Like there's probably a movie that's better than Maverick that I just haven't thought of. But it's just like pure enjoyment. Like I don't do favorites because different songs, different movies, they serve different purposes at different times. And so
I'm pretty similar. I also I have a hard time like putting favorites and all that, but yeah, we can.
David Bentley says happy birthday, the Angry Mexican. Sorry, I couldn't make the stream because he's a loser. Bye.
But the two that I want to mention.
Is there no one here to defend themselves? Okay, sounds good.
That's the best time to make those sorts of arguments.
There's two movies that I'll mention because I remember at one point in time, as I was coming out of these two movies, thinking that was a perfect movie. I wouldn't say that these are necessarily my favorite movies of all time, and that there's things that could be criticized about them. But I remember walking out of them thinking that was just perfect. The first one being Pirates of the Caribbean, the first Pirates of the Caribbean, because it's just such a fun, just bombastic. It has the right balance of like humor and action and romance and everything else. It was just such a fun movie. And again, this is me with just like enjoying the movie.
That's up there. That's up there. Curse of the Black Pearl.
Curse of the Black Pearl was great, and I even enjoy the rest of the original trilogy. It didn't nearly get as good, but like
I would call it a perfect film.
mhm.
It's not one of my top 5 like favorites.
Yeah. And
Maybe
that's why,
10. It's probably in the
Yeah.
top 10.
so that's why, like, I wouldn't necessarily feel like I would put it on my top 5, but at the same time,
It is a perfect film.
Walk out of thinking this is perfect. This is
Yeah.
perfect, and just like the
I think what would preclude it from like my personal, it doesn't really have like a message attached to it. It's just
of.
fun.
Although it
right?
does a little bit in the
Yeah,
like
kind of.
being not being so tied up in not being a pirate, like being willing to be who you are and like embracing your past. And I don't know. I think that there's some good messaging in there too. It's not as strong, but it's it's there.
Anyway. That's just what would have put it over for the edge. Like if it was that well crafted, but also had something to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. It does what it's trying to do perfectly.
Yep.
And I think it's great.
The other one I remember walking out of
really quickly though, because before we get away from this, I have seen the announcements that they were considering what's her face to play the Thing.
The Thing. Who were they considering?
I forgot. I'm pretty sure that was fake. I did some research and I don't think that was serious. It was it was a woman. I saw it on Twitter and I dismissed it. I was going to bring it up. No, I forget who it was because I already put it out of my mind because I was like, no, this is not real.
Yeah. So my second movie that I remember walking out of feeling like that was just perfect was
Mila Kunis. Sorry,
Mila Kunis.
The rumor was Mila Kunis is going to play the Thing in the Fantastic Four.
That's a weird choice. Yeah. But
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Okay.
The second one I walked out of thinking that was a perfect movie was the first Avengers, the original Avengers, because that one again, it was just such a fun, good time, balanced but
Age of Ultron's better.
Age of Ultron has a lot of good things in it, and I think that it
Infinity
was
Wars
unfairly hated at the time, and it like ties in really well with things that happen in the future.
I do not understand the hate. It is a great film.
It is a good movie. I really liked it.
With Whoopi Goldberg against Reed Rich. I'm sorry. No. I mean,
but that's the Netflix one, no? The produced by Netflix.
Honestly, if they did go like full bore, I'd be more on board. I think like I would want to see it just for the meme, but
yeah. So I don't know. Those are the two movies that I remember walking out of being like that was perfect. There's like no notes, no complaints, no bits where I was like, ooh, what was that or anything like that. I loved them completely. And then of course I'm always a big fan of especially the original trilogy of Star Wars. Grew up even before the prequels came out. Yeah. I remember growing up every Saturday and Sunday I'd go up and put in the VHSs that we have of the original cuts.
My dumb dad.
Yep.
We've told the story.
Parents' house. Yep. So those are all
freaking
ones.
Grr.
Lord of the Rings trilogy always coming out right around my birthday, so I always went to see those in the theater. That was great. So those are the ones that I'll mention as great ones. Oh, one other one that I'll mention as one that has stuck with me as a great movie, whether or not it was well done throughout the whole thing, but I really it hit me, was Wanted. Did you guys ever see Wanted?
The one where they can serve bullets.
Uh-huh.
That's another example of edgelord. Like it's fun. I liked it when I was a kid, and watching it now is like it's a little bit much, like it's a little bit cringy.
The thing for me that ended up getting me is like I enjoyed the adventure of it and the whole Loom of Fate and the assassin stuff. And
it's got aesthetic for sure.
Stuff. The thing that really got me though was the very end. Because at the very end you have James McAvoy doing a voiceover talking about like this was my life when I was just doing whatever, like just letting things happen.
What the heck have you done today?
Exactly. So the and then he's like, and then I decided
that's like the edgiest part of the movie though.
And then he like you're tracing this bullet back that's just killed somebody, and you're tracing back from where it came, and then he looks straight at the camera and says, "What the F have you done lately?" So like kind of a like get up out of your seat, do something.
Yeah, how come you guys aren't out there murdering people? Right. What have you guys done today, huh?
At least take charge of your
I
life.
killed like 6 guys, and that was just for breakfast. What have you done today?
I remember really loving the way.
Yeah, how lame of you guys to have desk jobs. I'm out here murdering boys.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just had so much fun.
No, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun.
And I love the message of get up and do something with your life. Murder people, whatever, but like do something with your life. So I remember really liking that. And of course,
it would have worked a little bit better under a different frame. Sure.
Yeah. Wanted's really good. I would recommend you watch it, Mark Clark, if you haven't seen it. But I think it's great because that does not spoil the movie at all.
No, it doesn't. At all.
That is the very ending shot, and it does not spoil the movie. The movie itself has a lot of other good twists and turns and fun stuff going on in it. So,
is Morgan Freeman. So that's fun.
Morgan Freeman's in there. There's a couple of other people. I'd have to watch it again. It's been a while since I watched it. But
Mark mentioned Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I have seen this movie. I've only seen it once, and I didn't like it. It's been a really long time though. I was kind of young, and it just felt way too bizarre for me to enjoy. And I get that that's the point of it, is the bizarro humor. I couldn't get into it. But it's probably something that maybe if I rewatched it, I was like, oh no, that is pretty good. And I was just too dumb to understand, you know? But I didn't love it.
So anyway, if you wanted to do either the news or bad takes, or if Mex is ready, he can go on with some of his stuff. I don't know.
Anyone else want to go, or should we do some news?
News, yeah. I guess that's some news.
Okay. Welcome back to our weekly.
Hold on. Sorry, okay. I forgot I was muted. I wanted to bring up one more. One that I loved was The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith. That one is top for sure because it's like it's such a good.
It's good.
Yeah, I watched it not that long ago, and I remember enjoying it, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's one that like you can just watch over and over again.
It's pretty good.
But anyway, that's all we need to say about that one.
It's a good motivational movie. It's a feel good movie, but the message is fantastic. The message is if you like, it's a pretty conservative movie.
Yeah, well, I love it because
the value is like, hey, like, yeah, I definitely grew up under horrible circumstances, but anyone can succeed in America. You just have to freaking work hard. You gotta take risks and put your butt on the line, and you're not going to get anywhere if you don't.
Yeah, right. Like it's all about really taking all of the choices that come at you. You know, the unfairness or the challenges that life gives you, and it's about changing your attitude. And
was that the first movie his kid was in?
I think so. Yeah.
Before he,
well,
I guess before both of them went crazy, right?
Yeah.
So it's faithful to the book too. Yeah, I didn't know there was a book.
I didn't realize.
Good one. All right. Okay. Well, we shall return to our weekly segment of seeing how well the Mario Brothers movie is performing.
Spoiler alert! If you watched if you looked at the title of this video,
we hit $1 billion, baby.
Woo! I still haven't seen it.
That is an even spread. It's like 50-50 international and domestic.
Yep.
Which is like, oh man, it's impressive. This is the biggest.
Do we actually have a release in Japan yet?
It did release in Japan, and we have no numbers yet.
Interesting.
It released on the 28th of this week, which was Friday. Friday?
Yeah, it would have been Friday.
But yeah, there's nothing reporting from Japan yet. I passed it. Zeros.
It's gotta be big.
And we talked about it last week. Demon Slayer made made a bunch of money in Japan.
Yep.
So they have a market for things that they like. They don't go out and see everything, but if it's something that they like, they'll. Man,
You'll see it.
Is that
Where does
saying
this put it on the
it's
all-time?
put it on what?
On the all-time?
What do you mean?
All-time box office record list,
Titanic?
Further. The go to yeah.
Yeah, like the box office records. Like what's the is it
it's not
15 on the list or something at this point, or I don't know. It's coming up though, isn't it? I mean, I'm not expecting it to get to number 1 or 2 or anything like that, but
no.
I mean, there's only I don't know, a couple dozen movies that have made over $1 billion.
There's a few. I mean, the top. I mean, Avatar is 3 billion. So
yeah, well, almost, yeah, just about.
So you got Avatar. Yeah, it's not. I mean,
well, okay. I guess there was a few more no's thinking.
So it's hovering around the 40s, I guess.
The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, just the Star Wars name will carry them all up there.
Yeah.
The Phantom Menace.
But I believe Toy Story 4 is the top performing animated film.
Yeah, so Box Office Mojo might even have
yeah, you can segment
animated,
it.
I think.
Yeah, it's hard to.
Yeah, they changed something a little while back when they did their IMDb Pro.
It would be nice. You have to look it up separately. It would be nice if you could segment it from here, but you can't.
Yeah.
You have to look it up, and then it's on
The
different
Force
pages.
Awakens. No.
Hey, but that makes sense. That makes sense though. It was before we knew it was suck.
No.
Well, and The Force Awakens itself was all right. I actually really enjoyed The Force Awakens.
It was ambiguous enough that they hadn't offended anyone yet. It was open ended and hey, this has the bones of something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like Finn's characters, it's cool. I like the idea of
it had the skin of the of the fourth movie. It's like those the gag that they recurrently put in some cartoons when
but it had enough nostalgia.
Like a character is wearing the skin of another character and he's pretending to be
but it had enough nostalgia bait, and it totally ripped off A New Hope, but it introduced some interesting characters.
That's the dumbest argument ever, because so did Phantom Menace. Little boy on a desert planet goes and blows up a big thing to win the battle at the very end.
It's not a good movie.
Phantom Menace. That's the thing. The first movie of any of the trilogies is always going to have those a lot of those same similar plot points and stuff like that. So and criticizing Episode 7 for being too close to Episode 4.
I feel bad agreeing with Jared. Okay.
No.
The Force. Look, here's the thing. But this is what J.J. Abrams has always been good at. He's good at starting things, and he can't finish them. He's good at creating. Wow, hey, that's kind of interesting. I wonder where they're going with it. And the truth is, he has no idea.
The first movie of
but he's good. He's good at the hook. He did Lost, and you're like, wow, what is this? Turns out, once you open it up, there's no substance.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Here's the problem, right? And it's not even like the Phantom Menace, because the Phantom Menace, you have pod racers and they're trying to discover who Anakin is and all that. So I mean, there are some similarities.
Mark Clark says it's so faithful to the book.
No, wait a second. But here's the thing. The problem with number 7 is that it literally was a carbon copy of the movie. Let's go kill the Death Star. It's just bigger. How do we do it? Oh, well, there's
another Death Star.
Like Episode 6 is also another Death Star.
I know, and I don't like that either.
And they play around with the fact that rather than just blowing up this one thing, that's not all that did it. It also had to be done at the right time. And
come on,
they also were less of an Episode 4 ripoff than Top Gun Maverick was, because they didn't have a whole trench run. They had a short scene where it goes through a little bit of a trench. Top Gun Maverick was more of a episode 4 ripoff because it's all about going down that trench run. And
Yeah, but
hitting a target that's only
yeah.
3
Here's the-
meters large. You know.
Okay, I completely disagree with the Top Gun Maverick as a ripoff of Star Wars argument.
I do
and,
too.
and no, it is a do argument. Okay, you can't take one scene from Star Wars that has a parallel to the movie
entirety
and
of the
say,
movie.
"Hey, this is a carbon copy." Yes,
last-
it is a trench run, but
Mhm.
Top Gun Maverick takes the idea, the concept of a trench run, and says, "What
There's a
if
whole movie
the
about it."
entire movie was just about that?" So the
I 100%
entire movie is,
yeah.
"Hey, we got to train for this one mission. The one mission happens to look a little bit like Star Wars,
Mhm.
but it's
Yeah.
like anyone. If you're, I get that there's parallels, okay, but you can draw parallels between anything. So, but if you're not doing it ironically, if you're actually
Yeah.
trying to argue that Top Gun Maverick is a ripoff of Star Wars, you're dumb.
I
But
100%
it's funny.
agree with
It's
you, actually.
funny to bring it up as like, oh, it's just a ripoff. But if it's ironic.
That's the thing.
The
I
Force
100
Awakens is genuinely a ripoff, though.
I 100% agree with you, but
And they
the thought
killed Han
process
Solo.
behind why you're saying that, I 100%
Yes.
agree with the idea that it's a stupid argument to make about Top Gun Maverick, and I feel like that same thing applies over to The Force Awakens, because there's so many other things that are changed about it.
Yeah.
And
that-
yes, there are a lot of other plot points that are similar, but
so
again,
I agree
it's the
halfway.
same
I'm
thing.
halfway there. I'm halfway in between. Yes.
No,
It totally-
while I was watching that movie, I was like, this seems really familiar. Oh, that's right, because I already did this.
Because I've already seen it.
But when you were watching Phantom
Yes,
Menace,
it's a-
you were too young to be like complaining about those same problems. But Phantom Menace has the exact same problem
No,
that
no,
you're
you're
complaining
not, 'cause
about.
you're like,
No,
Come on.
Phantom Menace is pretty different.
Oh,
Okay. Yep.
Because-
Phantom Menace has Darth Mauls. Okay.
Phantom Menace
He's got a 2 lightsaber.
just
Yeah,
for the
right?
fight alone
Yeah,
at the
Force
ending,
Awakens has
just for the
a
death.
Kylo Ren's with a little crossguard lightsaber thing.
Okay, my thing with Force Awakens is that I always said that Disney was going to ruin Star Wars, and when I saw Force Awakens, everyone was, it's so good, it's good, it's a good movie, Star Wars is going to be fine, whatever.
If
Going
they
to
had
be
actually
as good
continued
as
along
the
and made some other good
prequels.
movies after that,
And
I
then
think we'd have been
no,
fine.
no, and then I told them it's going to be shit. It's going to be bad. I can see the future with this movie, because this movie is just the dead carcass of the fourth movie in the body of another human being, trying to pretend that is the father of a family. I don't know, that gag that they do sometimes in some TV shows. But yeah, I don't know. I never liked The Force Awakens. Phantom Menace is enjoyable. It's more enjoyable for me than The Force
guess-
I
Awakens.
also think we're of the generation that like we enjoy the prequels, but like we got to remember how hated the prequels were for a lot of those original
Mhm.
trilogy fans.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why like we as having grown up with
Boomers.
the prequels, we have come to like appreciate and like embrace it, and even a lot of the older generation have come to appreciate, even though yes, there's a lot of things to criticize about the prequels. So I try to look at the sequels here. I try to give them the same benefit of the doubt that a lot of the boomers are now giving to the prequels, in that yes, they're not as good. They don't hit the same way that the originals do.
The difference is, Jared, most people who like the prequels can also recognize that they're bad movies. I enjoy them. They're not. They're pretty bad though.
Mhm.
But there are
The
parts
third
that are
one
great.
is fun.
And the difference between the sequels is I know that they're bad, and I also don't enjoy them.
Yeah.
Um,
I do think that 20 years from now we're gonna be looking at it, and maybe not you guys, because there are still old original trilogy fans that are saying that the prequels are just still on that.
No.
The prequels are garbage and worth nothing.
no,
But I
you're,
think that 20 years from now, I hope that we'll be in a position where we can embrace the sequels like we've embraced the prequels.
you're wrong about that. And the evidence is in the sequel. The prequels gained popularity with each one, and the sequels lost popularity.
Yeah, I
with
don't
each
expect it
film.
to be as well
So,
loved
so,
as.
so the problem is, they're bad, but we're still liking them. And these are, they're bad, and oh no, there's no substance here.
The prequels also.
Oh no, they really are bad, and that's also evidence with the TV shows and all this. Like, we are not. No one's going to be looking back at these movies and thinking, "Oh no, they were just misunderstood." Like, people are going to look back and be like, "Wait, I can't believe that anyone ever liked these." I guess Frozen 2 is the top animated movie. This is not the animated Lion King. This is the live action reboot, which that's just weird. It's disappointing that it would make that much money because it was garbage. But Frozen 2, man, Frozen 1 is a bad film.
Wow. Actually, oh no, this is domestic. Dang it. Come on. I'm still trying to get this thing.
That's the problem. You have to filter in. Is this just domestic?
That's worldwide.
No, that one's worldwide. You're on worldwide. Yep.
Okay.
When
worldwide.
Frozen 1 came out, that's the
49 right
moment I
now.
knew that I hated animated movies. You know that
I was so
Hit
confused.
movies were-
Everyone was talking about Frozen. Oh my goodness, have you seen Frozen? Wow, it's amazing. This and that. I'm like, really? It's a Disney movie, and I'm like, okay. Went and saw Frozen, and my jaw was on the floor the entire time. With like, people, I'm sorry, people liked this. It is a horrible movie. The music
I still think it's good.
The message.
Okay. The music is bad. The only good song in Frozen is the Olaf song where he sings about what would a snowman do in summer. That, like, genuinely, that is compositionally that is a good song. The rest of the music, if you know anything about music,
Like 4 chords.
it's garbage. It is horrible garbage.
Same key.
Yeah.
Every song is structured the same way, where in the chorus they just go to the dominant, and that's all it does. It's really, really basic composition, and you're right. The one with Olaf is actually the one that is the most complex.
And it does that thing that I hate in movies, which the prime example is Now You See Me, where they have a twist at the end solely for the purpose of having a twist that will shock everyone, but it's not consistent with the rest of the movie at all. Because if you go back and watch it, you're like, none of this tracks. Like, the boyfriend being a bad guy is stupid, which, if you know the behind the scenes, it wasn't the initial plan. It was a 13th hour change, because they go out of their way to show scenes where he's alone and he's being good.
Yeah.
Like he picks up a flower and like smiles at it. Oh, I'm such a good person. I'm happy.
He does
and
a good
then
job taking care
turns out he's the bad guy. Why?
Because he's white.
Because right, and it's the same thing with Now You See Me. Hey, turns out the policeman was the guy behind it all along. Even though if you watch the movie with that context, it's retarded, and you're like, no, what? No, what?
It's the sort of, like, I do kind of wish that they had that, because I enjoy the idea of that plot twist of the seems like a good guy and he turns out not to be, or whatever.
Yes,
if they then done another pass to actually work that through the story so that it wasn't such a doesn't fit with
exactly. It's not a bad idea. It's the execution that's just horrible. And I don't understand why people.
And I appreciate the sisterly love and stuff like that. I like that.
They could have done it better, definitely. Like a little bit of.
It's a bit gay.
No, they're just caring about each other. Come on.
I'm just kidding.
A little bit of foreshadowing, perhaps, would.
Man, we are on a 50-50 spread on this poll on whether or not we should watch Picard season 3.
I don't have access to Paramount Plus right now, so
it's on Paramount Plus.
I'm pretty sure all the Star Trek stuff's on Paramount.
Yeah, I do. I would give you mine, but I don't think it works.
Yeah, it might not with unless I was to use a VPN or something like that. But
anyway, the point of the story is good job, the Mario movie.
Absolutely. Mostly, I've been trying to figure out, like, it's getting close to, because it's 49 on the all time, it's only behind like Frozen 2 and Toy Story 4 for like animated all time. Like the second weekend drop was like 38%, which is insane for any movie, let alone a movie that made that much its first
which is
weekend.
also inflated because of the extra 2 days. So it's
True.
not actually a 30% drop.
Not necessarily. It was because they are counting just the weekend version. So just the
No.
weekends to the second
No,
weekend.
they tacked on the Wednesday, Thursday onto the first weekend.
Well, I know that they do for some of the
They
stuff. It
always
was
do.
140 some odd for just the weekend by itself, and then the second weekend was only 38% of that, I think.
It doesn't make sense, but
Yeah, either way,
anyway,
it's still amazing. That's
well, okay, Mark Clark is our channel member, so his vote counts for 2.
Yep.
So I will factor in that. I will add another point to yes. That we should watch Picard season 3. Anyway, okay.
I've heard good things. It's not that I'm not interested.
I've heard good things. I've also heard bad things. I've heard some people who didn't like it.
Okay,
I
well,
mean-
I guess that means I'll have to watch season 2 then as well.
I freaking
I've also heard you don't have to
the
watch
problem
the first
the problem is that Jared is going to be so smug. Like, I told you should watch Picard.
I told you guys early
From
on.
what I've heard,
I
you
was
don't
like,
even have to
hey.
watch the first two seasons.
Can that balance out Mark Clark's extra vote, please? Like, I don't want to do it just because I hate Jared.
Do it.
But
Okay,
again,
there's
I don't
some
think
more
we have to watch
news.
Season 1 or 2, so
Yeah,
I
there's more news.
sadly have to catch up though because I've been too busy with school. But
You haven't even watched it,
no,
but it's the one where it's good.
I know. Well, I mean, I
You-
thought the
you
first one
suck.
was good.
Oh man, what a simp! What a
Hey,
what an Alex Kurtzman simp.
Wow.
Okay. Did you? This is promotional material for the Little Mermaid. This is the Little Mermaid and her sisters. So, King Triton just gets around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is basically a descendant of a Greek god, so that's really not that surprising.
Yeah, but also his entire characterization in the first movie is that he's a good father.
Yeah, you can be a good father and not a good husband.
No, it doesn't work that way. You
Yeah.
can't, no. I think that if you're a bad husband, you're also a bad father.
You are right about that, but I do think that there is a little
Because
bit
part
more
of being a good
nuance.
father is making sure that your kids have a mother.
Yeah,
You know
Maybe
what it
they all
is?
have all of
It's
their
bad
mothers
parenting.
around,
Kids need a father figure and a mother figure because males and females serve different roles and they have different strengths and weaknesses. And my wife is capable of showing my children things that I am physically incapable of showing them, and I am able to teach them things that my wife knows nothing about. Kids need both a mom and a dad. It's very important. It is if you want to get a little, it's not political, it's scientific. If you want to get scientific about it, having a married household is the single greatest factor to that can determine success. If you want to measure any other input in life, nothing will ever be as impactful in being successful as having a mother and a father under the same household. It doesn't work the same if you're divorced. It doesn't work the same if you have two dads or two moms. I'm not saying that you can't be successful. I'm saying it is the single biggest factor in determining success is having a supportive mother and a father with matrimony in a household.
No, you're absolutely right, but I do still think that this also fits kind of what I expect out of, not just because it's a Disney remake, a modern Disney remake thing. This definitely just fits what I would think would make sense for the sort of story that they're going to be. Well, I mean, again, not even because of the new Disney remake version of it,
But I don't understand how this girl can be King Triton's father because Triton is Spanish, right? He's Javier Bardem, and she does not look mixed.
I also my guess would be that there's going to be some play.
This makes sense, right?
Yeah. I also am going to guess that there's going to be some play along the lines of like
They're adopted.
Well, not that. I was going to say like they're supposed to represent the different seas of the world, and so I think that it's that they're trying to show the different diversity of ethnicities throughout the world and tying in with the kind of sea that they're supposed to be representing and all that. So because they're the 7 seas and the 7 daughters, and
Yeah, it looks stupid.
I'm good with it.
All right.
Nobody's surprised.
I think that a family channel should promote family values, but that's just me. Anyway, that's The Little Mermaid. Peter Pan and Wendy dropped on Disney Plus this week, and there was an interview with the director saying that talking about the decision to include girls in The Lost Boys, and he did it because movies should be for everyone, which is a great way to teach people to other people. You are not allowed to enjoy something if people look different than you. That's a weird message, Disney. That's kind of super freaking racist. To tell kids they are not allowed to enjoy something if it doesn't include people that look just like you.
I do
that's
think
that's extremely bigoted.
Your point, I understand your point, and I kind of agree with a lot of that, but I also think it's a little bit more nuanced than that about recognizing that there are people who do still have an easier time enjoying it when there are things that they can feel like they identify with. But I agree with you that it can be problematic to lean into and say that, oh, well, you can't enjoy it otherwise, or you can't identify with it. I agree with that.
Okay. I understand your point, but it doesn't apply here. Like obviously, I'm not going to enjoy watching the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants because it wasn't made for me, right? And a little girl could obviously connect to that more. The problem is this movie was not made for those people. This movie was made for kids. And most honestly, if we're being honest, it's mostly made for boys.
I'm not sure I would say
so if you want, not saying that girls can't enjoy it. I'm not saying that girls can't enjoy it, but it's a movie about pirates and lost boys. It's kind of tailored to boys. And that's okay.
This version was for girls.
Oh no, I'm not saying this version. I'm talking about the original story, obviously. Yeah. So I don't have an issue with you writing a story that is for everybody, but to take a story that isn't and force it is stupid. Also, we really need the Ben Shapiro clip. Where does it say that girls can't be in Boy Scouts? It's in the name, Boy Scouts.
Yeah. And even though they've changed that, they also still haven't changed it.
I know.
Scouts BSA. I always thought that was kind of funny, but I'm still proud to be an Eagle Scout.
I actually just watched this movie.
You watched it?
I've only watched the first
minutes ago. Yeah, I just watched it. I just realized that it was on, and
spill because I'm not gonna watch it.
I have friends over yesterday, and they were one of my friends there. She was talking about a lot of things that have been going on in media, like the race swapping and all these things. And she was talking specifically about this one, that this one looked horrific. And it's horrific. It's so bad, but it's not even so bad. It's good bad. It's just...
Captain Hook looks like a hobo. How is that intimidating? He's a balding hobo. How is that scary?
Not only that,
I thought it was good. They did.
So I've only seen the first half of it so far, and I've actually been really impressed. The production quality is not bad.
You gotta be freaking my D, bro.
I would expect like the Disney Plus release to be like kind of the production quality, but it wasn't quite theater level quality production, but like it was almost theater level quality production.
I'm
fun with it so far.
What compared to the first live action?
Yeah, I do believe in fairies. I do. Right. It's a good movie.
I mean, not so good, but way better than this one.
Yeah,
I feel like
I had so much bad things to say about this movie, specifically Tinkerbell, that looks like a woman that just came out of plastic surgery on her lips.
It looks fine.
There was another interview that
She just injected like a kilo of collagen, Mexican collagen. Into the lips.
Master the
Literally.
Master the TDS exposed another interview with the director, because he's read the original books, and he's a big fan of the books. He's read all of, like, the Wizard of Oz too, so he's super passionate of Wizard of Oz, which is it's a weird niche. Gotta say it's a little it's weird. But the director said, we decided not to make Tinkerbell glow. Well, first off, they race swapped her, turned her black.
Yeah.
So Tinkerbell's black, and they said we decided not to make Tinkerbell glow because, and I quote, it was because where does that glow come from? It doesn't make sense. Are her wings glowing? And literally, Master of the TDS pulls up like quotes from the books, like, so you haven't read the book that you're like. It's pixie dust glows, and they emit. It's like their sweat.
She actually
it just glows.
In the movie, though, she kind of does still have light around her, though.
Oh, no! I was losing my mind. I was losing my goddamn mind, saying that she's not glowing. That girl is no Tinkerbell girl.
I thought she looked fine. So
that's hobo girl. Like.
It didn't bother me. I didn't think it detracted from the story they were telling. Like, that's the thing. Like, it was good enough. It was told well enough that those things, like this race swapping and adding these girls, like, it didn't matter that much because the story they were telling actually was told pretty well. Like, I felt like what they did too was
if it doesn't matter, then why do it? If it's not, and they always that's the argument they always bring up. Oh, well, why does it matter so much? It's not important if we race swap. It doesn't matter. It's not important if you race swap a character. Then why is it so important that you do it?
I agree.
If it doesn't matter, if it doesn't change the story, why is it so important to you?
There's definitely a lot of discussion about this race swapping, and I didn't want to get into that, but I'm trying to say that regardless of those points, it was a pretty good. I enjoyed watching it because it was a live action remake that didn't just copy the animated story, which was good because they took that story, but then they also took some of the book story.
Apparently not, because the director has not read it.
Not all the details, but there were. I mean, and maybe not. Like I haven't read them, but it said it was based off of in one of the stories. It wasn't based off of Peter the Starcatcher. It was another story.
Right.
But
this is funny though. Mark wants to know if Jared is the new Jared.
Jared's unite.
I'm just saying that yes, those race swapping and adding girls in the Lost Boys, yes, those are concerns, but I still enjoyed this movie. It was a good movie that wasn't something.
I would even say from my perspective, the little bit that I've seen so far, the biggest reason for me that it's like, yes, why does it matter? If it doesn't matter, then why do it? But I will also say in this situation, it also didn't end up detracting at all. Like there are places where sometimes it ends up detracting. Like
how does it not inherently detract from the story? Because the story is that he brings Wendy to Neverland because they need there are no women there and they wanted a mom. So how does that make sense if there are lost girls?
They could still be one. I don't know. I haven't seen the whole thing.
That's the thing. So it doesn't say that that's the reason in this story.
Okay, well then that's stupid because that's the reason.
But that's what I'm
saying.
There's
also female pirates.
They make it work, and it doesn't feel weird that what they did.
Yeah,
it's like in the books. Guess what? In the books, the reason why there are no lost girls is because girls are too smart to get lost. That's literally from the books. They say, "Oh yeah, girls would never get lost."
That's what I'm saying.
But boys are scatterbrained, and so they forget where they are, right? And the whole point of the books is it's supposed to be this land. It's like Lord of the Flies, right? It's this land. Obviously, that's a weird parallel, but it's this land of eternal boyhood where wish fulfillment. Boys can just live and perpetually be young and without consequences. but bringing Wendy to Neverland introduces consequences. She has to teach them that, hey, no, like you can't just do whatever you want, and it ultimately brings them back to reality.
Yes,
that's the entire point of the book.
That's what I'm saying, is that it's different, and that's why I liked it, is because it didn't necessarily stick with those sorts of reasons. And
then why call it Peter Pan?
Mm-hmm.
that's a good question, but I'm just saying that the reasons they gave, they felt like they were still good reasons, and it still made sense, and it didn't detract, like Jared was saying. Like, for example, they talk about Wendy. She's going off to boarding school, so she goes off. That's like, she's like, hey, I don't want to go off to boarding school. I don't want to grow up. And
That's
then
also her entire arc, is that she doesn't want to grow up, and then she goes to Neverland and realizes, oh no, I do need to grow up.
I know, and that's still part of it. That's still part of it. But
That's
the
still
reason
okay.
why he
But
comes
yeah.
into the room isn't because they need someone to tell stories and to be a mom. Is he says she comes because he's been waiting for her to say, hey, I don't want to grow up, right? So he wanted to take and bring her into Netherland where she wouldn't have to grow up.
Into the Netherland?
Neverland.
but
sorry, but-
Again,
only
I've
thing-
really been enjoying it. It's been like, we started it and it was fun. I just got attacked by allergies halfway through, and so I had to stop. But yeah,
Guy, allergies, can I just mention? I have hay fever, suffered from hay fever my whole life.
same.
Miserably so, where like if I mow the lawn, I will pass out for 2 days and sleep. And I can't breathe during the spring and the fall. But for the last year, I've been taking allergy shots like 2 times a week, every week, getting shots, and it's been miserable. It's given me like granny arms. Like the back of my arms are super flabby because they would swell up like welts, like the size of baseballs when I first started doing it, getting injected with these allergies. I would have big old, and so my skin's all loosening. I'm also out of shape. I've gotten fatter too, so that's added to it. But I'm like super out of shape.
how they call that in Mexico, right?
What?
Brazo de tamalera.
Tamalera. Oh, tamalera.
Tamal maker.
Tamale.
Okay. Yeah.
Tamale.
Okay.
Just imagine a tamale maker with an old lady making tamale.
I'm literally sitting here with a wet washcloth, and I'll turn off the screen so I can soak my eyes in it every now and then, just to like relieve the suffering from the. I need to get into an allergist and get some shots going, but yeah.
It's the spring now, and I'm like, okay, I've been doing this for a year. It takes 3 years to, but I'm off of. They had to like wax. They had to build up the dosage, and so I did that for twice a week for a year, and now I'm just on the maintenance dose, which is just I only have to go in every other week to just get the shot, and I'll have to do that for another 2 years before I'm fully immune, I guess. But I'm like, okay, I had to dip my toes in the water. I mowed the lawn, and I felt great.
Nice.
I'm still sneezy, like I was still feeling like the allergy that but I'm not congested at all, and I felt great, and it feels wonderful.
Nice.
I feel like I don't know why the heck I didn't do this sooner.
Yeah.
It has gotten
I need to
worse
get on
though.
that.
Like my hay fever, I could kind of put up with it as a kid. There were nights that were pretty bad. Like I almost died one night because I woke up and I couldn't breathe. But it's gotten like progressively worse and worse as I've gotten older. I'm like I just feel like a hermit. I can never go outside. I can never take my family camping. So it feels great. I feel like a new man. Anyway,
Nice.
you were watching this movie and you were enjoying it.
Yep. I was enjoying it until the
Tangent!
allergies decided to just attack me, and I had to call it the night. But
Get some shots, baby.
yeah, I
My
need
only
to get
problem
in
with
on
this
that.
movie is the following. This right here, this very scene where the photo is, they made, and that's the problem with the movie. They make a huge deal about the changes, about
It's like
the
one
girls
little
being
scene,
in the.
and
They literally say,
it's like 2
"Bro,
lines."
that is the introduction to the
You're called the Lost
Boys,
Boys, but how come
which-
there's girls?
which is brain dead, which is first of all is brain dead, that the Indian girl was like some kind of leader to the Lost Boys. First of all, she appears in a horse
Princess
and
Tiger
she has
Lily,
like
yeah.
such a dramatic entrance.
Ooh.
Whatever. I like the actress that
Yeah.
plays the Indian girl.
I
She
don't-
portrays it perfectly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm never gonna watch this movie.
But whatever they say, why are there 2 girls in the Lost
Lost Boys.
Boys? And they're like, well, it should be for everybody or something like that regarding inclusion. Something stupid, brain dead like that.
Again, it was like
I
2
just
lines. And
cringed out
honestly,
of my mind.
yeah. For me, it was 2 lines. At least because I made it a little bit past this scene. It was 2 lines, and then they moved on, and they didn't like keep hammering you over the head with it. So
Hey, it was only 2 pieces of poop in your sandwich. Just eat it.
perfect. Yeah, exactly.
It's okay. The rest of the sandwich was fine.
Yeah, but come on, the sandwich is still.
I gotta say, I do not envy being lactose intolerant, but I don't know. You can still, yeah. That sounds tough. But my hay fever has been like debilitating.
My wife has food intolerances and allergies and stuff like that as well, and she says she would take those over seasonal allergies any day. And a lot of it is because she can avoid the
Yeah,
things.
Mark
it
Clark,
sucks.
you big pussy.
It sucks to avoid those because you want to have a milkshake. And milkshakes are delicious, and it sucks to not have milkshakes.
You're allergic to milk, man. I'm allergic to outside. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Drink some coconut milk, bruh. Man up.
You can take a pill beforehand, and then you're good. You're better at least. I don't know. That's what I've heard.
No, that sounds miserable too.
Antagonizing our one channel member.
Sorry. Well, I mean, oh man, I wish that I was lactose intolerant. I wish I could trade it for just. Anyway, this movie's silly. On a side note, on a similar vein, I've been really. Does anyone watch Ted Lasso?
Yeah, I love Ted Lasso.
I've been meaning to, but I've heard. I
have been so disappointed with season 3.
I haven't.
I've mostly heard that season 3 wasn't as good.
Honestly, seasons 1 and 2, they are phenomenal. And season 3 started off like the first couple episodes was like they were really good, and it had just like these last couple episodes, it has gotten so woke. I don't even know if I'm going to finish watching season 3. It's night and day. Like someone took over the writer's room, and I love
the creator from that. I'd forgotten that the dude that created Ted Lasso is the guy who created Scrubs too.
Dude,
Scrubs
awesome. I cannot like seasons 1 and 2 are they're mind-blowingly good. It's like it's so optimistic. It's so weird because it's
so bearded.
It's so depressing. Bearded. This show is depressing and sad and horrible, and yet it's the most optimistic thing I've ever seen. I'm like, it just fills you with hope, and then stabs you in the heart, and then fills, and then like injects your heart with more hope, and then and then pulls the plug, and then like revives you. Like it's. It's really well written. And then season 3, it's so frustrating. Like they derailed the entire story just to do this dumb, stupid, like way overblown plot of this racial stuff that like it was so cringy. They were obviously trying to criticize like Donald Trump and the alt-right, and it was comical. It was a caricature of what it was a clear insight to how these people think about us, to what they think conservatives are like, and it's so wrong. You're like, what? There's no way anyone would do this, and it's dumb. And also, everyone just turns gay in season 3. They ruin the best part of 1 and 2. The only reason to watch the show was a certain relationship that is fantastic. It's so good, and they break up and they're gay now. For no reason. They don't even tell you. It happens off screen. Season 3 starts off with them broken up. And you're like, why? Ted Lasso sucks now. Anyway, more news. But what I would still recommend seasons 1 and 2. They're phenomenal. Disney just greenlit a coming of age story. Oh gosh, Disney Plus greenlights a coming of age story about a teenager who has a one-night stand with Satan.
What?
So that's new. There's some yeah, give backstory about Strange Worlds and that, oh my goodness, the horrible Proud Family reboot, and all this inclusion that they're pushing for.
Lightyear wasn't even that bad.
It's a German show called Pauline, which follows an 18-year-old girl who has a one-night stand with a boy called Lucas, who turns out is the devil. Cool. Yeah. Don't give your kids the remote. That's the message we're going to go with. Field everything your kids are watching. Don't let your kids watch YouTube unless you're there, because the algorithm pushes kids on YouTube. This happened to Elliot, my son. There were some kid shows on YouTube that were really cool. And the autoplay, this was years ago, but it still happens. The autoplay gets gross, and it's predatory towards kids. He was watching adults dressed up as Elsa and the Frozen sisters,
Anna.
and Spider-Man. They were on the bed, and Spider-Man was spanking them. So don't let your kids watch YouTube. Don't let your kids be on the computer alone. Okay, don't let these companies parent your kids, because they hate you.
Yeah, parent your kids.
Yeah,
teach them.
Oh yeah, this was from the Santa Claus TV show. We Love You, Satan. It was a joke. It's supposed to be We Love You, Santa. I'm not opposed to this joke. I thought it was kind of clever, but is the mix-up. Oh, oops, we did it in the wrong order. It's a bit weird to put in a kid show too, though, so I understand. Anyway, that's that. That's the news. That's the
incredibly nuanced.
Is that stinger too loud? I feel like that stinger's too loud.
It's not bad.
Okay.
Obviously, Mexa slept through it. No, I'm just kidding.
Let us know if that stinger's too loud. Don't let your kids watch Disney Channel by themselves. It's hard. It's hard because Disney Plus has all of the classic Disney movies, which is the only reason to own it, because your kids can watch them, but also just buy physical media. Anyway, so The Boys is under some hot water. Season 3 was kind of controversial. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people thought it was incredibly woke. And some people were in denial, saying that it wasn't, because it was. And a lot of things happened in season 3 that were clearly criticizing conservatives, and specifically Donald Trump and everyone. And there was a lot of people that refused to believe it. They're like, no, it's not. But that's the next story. Sorry, I got to hold myself. But the Boys showrunner talked about the reason why they changed Maeve's character, who dies in the comics. They gave her a happy ending. She lives so that she can go off and be with her lesbian lover at the end and have a happy ending. And she's not in the story anymore, but it's a happy ending. And they changed that from the comics because they wanted to avoid the trope of killing off gay and bisexual characters, which I honestly, I had no idea that was a trope. Someone brought it up in the chat when we were going over the Wheel of Time that apparently it's a trope to kill lesbians. I've
heard that as well.
I've heard people say that it's a trope, and that's it. I've never seen it as an actual trope. But it's dumb. Regardless of changing the source material, it also like makes no sense in the show that she lives. She like gets exploded by a nuke and falls off a building, and she just survived, I guess. But how is just like if we're dictating all of our choices around avoiding these tropes and cliches and afraid of stepping on, like how is storytelling even possible if this is what people are thinking about in the writer's room?
I mean, avoiding tropes is a good thing to be worried about. If you take out the specifics of what this trope was supposed to be,
not what this is.
Well, yeah,
and that is inherent. This is not avoiding tropes. This is not wanting to piss off a specific group of people.
Yeah.
This is walking on eggshells because the writers are terrified of backlash from a certain group of people. So you might that sounds a little bit like homophobia. Sounds like these are the people who are actually scared of the LGBTPs. If you're going by the definition of the word. Am I wrong? If you're going by the technical definition, it sounds like they're afraid. So I've only seen. Yeah, don't let Corin's mom pick the movies. Yeah. But anyway, this was the side character. It's just storytelling. I don't know how anyone can write stories now. Everything's an eggshell. Everything's a landmine. It's insane. But there's a scene in season 3 where the Superman character just kills a guy for throwing. I think he gets egged and then kills him. You know, which it was very clearly a criticism of Trump. And everyone's like, no, it wasn't. And they were living in denial for a long time until the showrunner this week came out and said, yes, I wrote that scene because that is how I think conservatives act. It was inspired by Trump. And I think that conservatives are psychopaths who just go out and murder their opposition, which is just statistically the opposite of what actually happens. So, and we got someone roasting him on Twitter. Imagine being dumb enough to get Alec Baldwin confused with the character he played on SNL. But it's a bad take, everybody.
I will also say I enjoyed when watching The Boys that even though there was still definitely an amount of criticism being very obvious in the way that they portray this, they also do a really good job of kind of showing you how and why somebody gets to that point, and the things that are behind that somebody would stand behind, so that it's not just saying, look at this person who's just an evil person just to be an evil person. It's look at this evil person who's an evil person because he's got these issues that are going on, and it felt less like, I don't know what the word is for it, just like it didn't feel like they were just saying, look at this person being terrible. It was like, let's see why this is that somebody who would be terrible would be doing this. Because I feel like they do criticize on both sides, even to the point of where they're talking about.
I don't think it was nuanced at all. I think it was pretty on the nose, critical of one side and not critical of the other. But
I think it does criticize the other, because you see where they're making all of the points where everybody's being very like, Queen Maeve's, land and all the pro LGBTQ stuff that they're doing in The Boys, and how like that's all very insincere. Like they're just doing it Like in the show, they show but that this company is touting all this positive stuff, and they're just doing it for the publicity of it. They're not doing it because they actually.
Yeah, I guess there is stuff you could pull from it.
There's a lot of that.
There's a lot of like undertone stuff that you could probably pull and justify as criticism, but the overtones, they all kind of go one way.
Yeah, to me, I still feel like I can hear those undertones of recognizing and understanding where this is coming from and why this is, and even like the stepdad of Mother's Milk's kid or whatever that's like getting all like worked up and everything.
It was so over the top.
Yeah, it was very over the top, and him being
it was so cringy.
But even recognizing that a lot of it is coming from the like don't let people walk all over you, and that's a message that like that's what we want to say is don't let people walk all over us, and then obviously is being done by somebody who is also a psychopath, but there's like truth behind what's being done, because that's the thing.
The final scene was a joke though, like the fact that anyone would be okay with, and they were cheering him on. I was like, are you serious? Like this is retarded.
Yeah.
That's literally what the left thinks of conservatives, and I'm like, it's a joke. Like no one would be okay with this.
Yeah,
but I don't like The Boys. This one's fun. It cuts off at the perfect place.
Yeah,
I'm not going to read it though. I don't want to get in trouble. Did the Angry Mexa fall asleep?
I think he did. I think he fell asleep a little bit ago.
It's been a long day.
Yep. He was asleep before the incredibly nuanced stinger, which told me that it's not too loud because it didn't wake him up.
Oh. Wait back. Happy birthday, everybody. He partied too hard last night. We love him. This is a funny meme. So the you wake up?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go to bed?
A little bit. But yeah, let's finish this up, and yeah, I can go to bed next.
All right. Well, the rest is all Wheel of Time criticism. So
nice. Yeah, I haven't seen that, so
okay.
Perfect timing then. Yeah, I appreciate it so much for hopping up to my birthday.
Dude, we love you, man.
To talking about good movies. I'm going to watch all of those recommendations. Definitely.
Yeah, I actually made notes of them too. Yep.
Do you guys do you have Venmo in Mexico? Can you Venmo internationally?
What's Venmo?
Or do you guys use Zelle?
Zelle, or there might be some other ones.
You don't use Zelle? Okay.
No idea.
They're like little apps that you can use to like basically just do payment, like pay people just through your bank accounts or whatever.
I want to buy you a birthday cake or something, but I don't know how to do that in Mexico.
That'd be cool.
Do you guys have DoorDash down there in Mexico? Like
we have like Rappi. Rappi.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, that's the only thing that we have.
I wonder if you could like submit an order for Rappi to deliver to them or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we freaking love you, man.
I love you guys. It's been a long ride with you, like almost 6 months now, more.
Yeah.
It's been a fun time always, and I hope we get more shitty media to criticize and make fun of, and if we get good movies, well, that's also something good, like the Mario movie. So I'm gonna see you guys next week. I hope we get an actual topic. If not, we can always talk about things that we enjoy.
Yeah. Next week is Guardians of the Galaxy drops this Friday.
Oh, okay.
I have seen a lot of advertisements for that.
I feel like that's the one Marvel movie I would be willing to spend money on.
I just watched
because it's more of a litmus test for how the DC. If the DC is going to be good, then if Marvel's good, right?
So Disney Plus, just before a lot of their releases, they usually put out a couple of like little episodes of like recaps of different characters called Legends, which are really fun and actually very enjoyable. And I just watched the Legends set that they released for Guardians 3, which has Peter Quill, Gamora, Nebula, Groot, and Kraglin. I think there might be one more. Anyway, and man, watching through those and all the clips of the stuff from the original Guardians 1, Guardians 2, the holiday special, even like got me pretty excited. That just by itself, it's got me pretty excited about Guardians 3 coming out.
Referendum. That's the word I was trying to think of. It's more of a referendum on DC than it is on Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel. Yeah.
Oh, it just came to me. Sometimes I forget things. I'm a forgetful boy. All right. Well, the Younger Mexican, you can peace out whenever. If you're tired, you can go to bed.
See you guys. Thank you. Yes, I'm going to go straight to bed.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday, man.
Thank you so much. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.
So the Wheel of Time. The Wheel of Time, baby. The thing was last weekend, and there was no new news. So we showed you. It was so insulting. It was so insulting. I don't know if you guys watched my full breakdown of that video, but man, it was bad. Rafe Judkins is just like smug the whole time. Like, hey, I'm here to announce that I don't give a crap about you, and I'm never going to Jordan Con. And because of that, I'm so proud to announce that we don't have a release date, and instead, I'm going to give you news I'm going to give you new casting news that everyone has already known for an entire year. And it was a Q&A that was 100% scripted. They were all softballs. Like it was a video, so it wasn't a Q&A. They were just questions that nebulous people had asked them. It was all scripted, and the best part of the video is when they ask the three Aiel characters, and they ask them, what do you feel as a person that you have? What's something that you, as a person, have in common with the character that you're playing? And the two sidekick Aiels, Bane and Shiad, were like, oh, well, I have this in common with my character, and I'm just really good friends with that one, and this. And they had good answers, and then they asked Avienda, and she's like, I can't think of anything. In a scripted video. So they knew the questions beforehand, and she couldn't think of anything that she has in common with the character she's playing, which is
that's our concern. That's why we're worried.
It's a little bit poetic. Oh gosh, I'm the Wheel of Time. So anyway, I found out after just doing digging that so if you don't know, the White Cloaks were a subreddit of people who didn't like the show, thought it was not faithful and kind of woke and cringe. And Amazon paid Reddit to shut them down, to remove all criticism. It's the same thing that they tried to do for Rings of Power. They tried, like, it was like guerrilla marketing where they got super fans, to come out to the set and watch the first couple episodes of Rings of Power. And do you guys know the story about the super fans?
I almost think I remember you talking about it, but I don't.
So the super fans, they got to go and see the first two episodes, and then they did this huge interview with the super fans of, oh man, I'm so excited. We saw it, and it's so faithful to Tolkien. I love Tolkien so much, and no one had heard of these people, and everyone's like, who are these super fans? Like there are very prominent faces on YouTube that know Tolkien really well. Like they're dedicated to Tolkien. How come you didn't invite any of those ones? Like some of them, the smaller channels all got invited to go see it, but not the actual Tolkien fans. And so it was a super cringy video. And in the video, they were all obviously diversity hires too, and one of them was this gay guy who's, oh, well, I think I could save Sauron. He would just be we would make love, and because he's so hot, I could save him. I could change him. And we're like, these are
Hanzo. He's so hot right now.
These are Tolkien fans, and everyone was like, who are these people? And they were just paid actors. The video was so cringy that they had to remove it from YouTube.
Oh wow!
It got just incinerated. It got ratioed.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm thinking of. And so they had to remove it. And then afterwards, someone found one of them on like some other platform like Instagram or something and asked him like, hey, what are you thinking of Rings of Power? And she answered without hesitation, I haven't started watching it yet because House of the Dragon came out first. And so I can't watch two things at once. She literally said like I can only focus on one thing. So I'm waiting until House of the Dragon is over to watch Rings of Power. The Tolkien super fan was unwilling to watch the show that she was paid to promote because she was too busy watching House of the Dragon. They tried to do this. So that's what they tried to do for Rings of Power, and it failed miserably because the fans were too passionate and too numerous to drown out. They did the same thing for Rings of Power. They had paid actors come out and pretend to say, hey, this show is really great. It's really great. They had a bunch of fake accounts on Twitter promoting the show, and it worked because there are less. The Wheel of Time fan base is smaller, and it worked. It didn't. So there wasn't the light that was shining on their sleazeball tactics. So they got away with it. So Amazon literally paid. I think they paid Reddit. They might be like a subsidiary to companies. They paid Reddit to shut down any negativity, and Twitter at the time as well. Negativity of the show was deranked, and there was so there were a couple meme channels. There was like a Wetlander humor and the Watt on Prime subreddits that would just post memes of the show that were positive, and then some people were like, well, we don't like it, and so they created the subreddit the White Cloaks that was critical of the show, and they came up with all of the excuses to shut them down, and it was very nefarious how it went down. I want to interview the guys that did it, but it was just super sketchy, and the reasons they gave was that it was like brigading, like they were encouraging people to go and attack people for liking the show, and it was all lies. It was all made up, and it's all documented. But the long story is that the White Cloaks got shut down, removed from Reddit, and I thought that they were dead until this video came out, and I did some digging and found out that they're still alive they have a Discord channel, and I joined it. And it's been so nice to find people that have been deranked. People like Shad Brooks, he was the only major YouTuber who was criticizing the show while it was happening. A lot of people came out afterwards to say, oh, now that our NDAs have expired, we can talk negatively. Like Daniel Green, one of the biggest booktubers of all time. And the reason that I started reading The Wheel of Time, aside from, he reminded me, oh yeah, the Pratts love The Wheel of Time. I should read it now. And now that I have access to audiobooks, I want to read these books. Daniel Green was super pumped for the show. He does a whole bunch of Wheel of Time videos. And then it wasn't until Rings of Power came out that he said, yes, I am contractually incapable of criticizing the Wheel of Time. So the White Cloak got shut down, but I found out they still exist. I joined their Discord, and I've been chatting with a bunch of them, and I would love for some of them to come on the show, but it might take a while to set up. So this is one of their memes, though, of the Bookman and Showman, which is just super accurate because Min in the show was absolutely horrible, and an old Chinese lady, which makes no sense. So here's the actual news stories, though. I found this one, which I'm pretty sure
it's not coming next month, right?
No. I'm pretty sure this is written by an AI because it makes no sense. We don't have a release date for season 2, and we're already talking season 3. Wheel of Time season 3 release date, cast, storyline, trailer release, and everything you need to know. And everything that we know is literally nothing. We know that they are currently filming season 3 because Rafe Jenkins was too busy doing that to go to JordanCon. Okay. The video was so insulting too. Like, it was premeditated. They know they weren't going to show up, and so they're okay. We'll send them a video, And so do they like spend time to like make it nice? No, there were a couple actors on set that they filmed, which was the Aiel, and the rest of the actors they Zoom called to record a video to send to Jordan Gunn. Like Zoom would make sense if you were going to do a live Q&A and they zoom in to the conference and answer questions. But in their pre-produced videos, they couldn't even get their actors to show up to record something. It was recorded Zoom calls. It was embarrassing. So this is all, we know nothing. This is all just like AI sludge. It might be too galling to get into it because it doesn't make sense. It's just bad English. But this website's ridiculous, and it's a bad take. I just wanted to highlight that AI is not quite there yet, guys. It might be soon, but why would this is just clearly just content farm junk. For those who are unaware, Rafe Judkins created the American high fantasy television series Wheel of Time. Yeah, it's just a bunch of word salad without saying anything at all.
That first paragraph,
it's bad,
awful. Like what?
We already knew we would be receiving more from the Wheel of Time season 2 before it even started. Season 3 of the Wheel of Time has been picked up. Anything we are aware of it as it. Yeah. Anything we are aware of it is as follows. Wheel of Times have been speculating regarding upcoming season of their beloved program since the premiere of its previous season. Like it's just word salad stuff. This is clearly AI. First off, because it's not news, and they accidentally grabbed season 3 instead of season 2. Like it's just what happened was the season 2 announcement hit, and this AI picked it up, generated word salad, and got a bunch of stuff wrong because it's talking about season 3. But I read it and it was just it gave me it felt like I had a stroke. Because all they're talking about is season 2 and the new announcements, which have been out for an entire. None of this is actual news.
Wow.
That's a great comment that I'm not going to read out loud because I think we've already said some things that will get this demonetized. YouTube is randomly, retroactively demonetizing a whole bunch of my videos, and I hate YouTube. So anyway, this is silly, but because of the White Cloaks subreddit, they have like archives of a bunch of dumb things that Rafe Judkins has said, and I was directed to this interview that he gave back in 2001. Which is very eye-opening when we talked about the decision to completely veer from the books and world building to say that the Dragon Reborn could be a girl, which is stupid. He actually, I didn't know that he'd given an official response to that until this. Turns out he gave it a long time ago, but no one cared because no one's read this article. It's got 60 comments. No one's heard of this. So someone asked him. So this is stuff we obviously already knew, but now we're getting it in his own words too, which is helpful. And I hate Rafe Judkins. So there's so much in the lore, bewildering, right? This is just a softball question, right? Okay, yeah, we love the Wheel of Time, whatever, we're making it, and then the rest of the interview. Okay. How do you treat the books? Is it the series Bible? Oh yeah, sure. We love the books, but if we actually followed the books, it would be too long. It would be 2,000 episodes, and no one would want to see that. So we decided to completely ignore the books, and rewrite all of the character arcs and the decisions that they're making. Okay, so here we go. The fundamental premise of the Wheel of Time is based so much on binary genders, with the all-female Aes Sedai, the male dragons, the gendered sides of the one power. How are you updating that for 2021 when gender identity and gender equity are so important? I think that's what's exciting about the Wheel of Time TV series and what was exciting about the books. This is what he liked about Jared. Was that why the books were exciting? Because they talked about gender binaries?
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's all they talked about. Yeah.
No. The books are exciting because they're good books. Okay. In the 90s, they opened up a conversation about gender and how gender is represented in all of these different cultures within the world of the Wheel of Time. Because it's not just one way. You see a lot of different representations of gender. You see things that are more binary and less binary. Gosh, he's so full of himself. And
Yeah, that's not
the
how
only none of this happened. He's just making stuff up. The only conversation that these books opened up, the point of the books is, yes, it is a matriarchy. And it's not to criticize feminism. It's to show, in the books, the world is pretty much run by women everywhere. And it's because men broke the world. Well, men and women, but people only, whatever. We're getting into the weeds. So, yeah, there was a breaking and men were largely responsible for it. But if you actually know the real lore, it was kind of the women's fault because they didn't help. Yikes. Okay. But that's okay. But men did they broke the world. Okay. They went, the male channelers did it bad and they went crazy and ruined everything. And so all the male channelers had to be killed. It's called the breaking. So naturally, after that cataclysmic thing that were caused by men, the entire world turned into a matriarchy. And so everyone's run by women. And it turns out that it's just as crappy, which it's not a criticism of females or feminism or femininity. It's a criticism of power. It criticizes the fact that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's the point, right? And that's just the setting, right? That's not the point of the books. That's just like the subtext, right? That's the setting that they're living in. And the story is about saving the world and Rand being awesome and cool and Avienda being sexy and not black. So he's just making stuff up. Okay. No one was talking about gender binaries when they read The Wheel of Time. And he says, I think that gender binaries is what we need to lean into in the show and continue to explore what gender means for these characters in as fresh of a context today as Robert Jordan was working in the 90s. He was pushing the envelope a lot for that genre at the time, and I think we need to do the same today. Yeah, sure. He definitely pushed the envelope on the genre. I think he did some amazing things. But gender binaries is not what he was pushing. Okay. It just happens to be there's a gender-based magic system, which is very integral to the world building. Now, they ask, what are some ways you'll be doing that on the show? And his response is, I think, well, I can't tell you all of them, but in the books, there's an idea that if you're born as a man in one life, reincarnation is the thing in Wheel of Time. Okay, your spirit gets reborn into different bodies. If you're born as a man in one life, you'll be born as a man in the next life in the show. Yes, in the books. He means to say in the books. Yes, and that is a fact. If you're a man, you're going to be a man throughout all eternity. And if you're a woman, you're going to be a woman throughout all eternity. And the Wheel of Time is endless, and everything repeats itself. We're not doing that. We're changing the books entirely. We're approaching it as you are a soul, and you move through different bodies through whatever life that you are in. So that's one. It's a very fundamental change, actually, to make in the book series. Yeah, you're not wrong there. It changes the fundamentals of the books. Yeah. It has a lot of ripple effects. Absolutely, which is, so it's weird that you would make that choice. And will continue to do things like that. So they'll continue to just disregard the books to make changes that they want to change. I will do things like that I think are more reflective of this, and this is more reflective of what hopefully Robert Jordan would be writing if he was writing today. Go screw yourself. Rafe Judkins is a arrogant dick. he thinks that he is better than Robert Jordan. He thinks it's okay to ignore what Robert Jordan wrote. And instead, let's focus on what he probably would. Let's focus on what he would have written if he was completely different. Instead of focusing on what he said, instead of focusing on what's real, what's verifiable, I'm going to insert my own politics and pretend that that's definitely what Robert Jordan would have thought.
Yeah, and then they bring in Brandon Sanderson and ignore everything that he suggests, who actually finished writing the books for him.
Somebody who literally had some right to say what Robert Jordan would have continued to say were he writing today.
Yeah. And speaking of, that's the biggest change is the revelation that a female character could be the Dragonborn. It makes no sense. Like he
Hey,
like he makes room for this caveat in the books too. Like he already addresses it.
So
putting a spirit in a different body is something that the Dark One does. It's a bad thing. It's done as punishment when one of the servants of the Dark One fails. He punishes that guy by putting him in a woman's body. So it's not a natural thing that could ever occur. But the Dark One perverts reality and punishes him by making him a girl. But it's still the same spirit. And it's a huge plot point in the books because he still channels the male half of the source, and he's used basically as a spy because everyone thinks he's a woman, but he can get away with channeling as a man.
But by the way, I'm actually going to get out of here. My allergies are starting to act up a little bit,
okay.
and I haven't read The Wheel of Time, so I have a little less of a dog in the fight. But sounds like a lot of fun, and I do not envy you having to go through what they're doing to it in season 2.
No.
And season 3 apparently, but
It sucks so much.
Yeah. All right, but hey, it was good chatting with you guys. Have a good night.
Thanks for coming, man. Easy. Thanks for suffering through the show.
Have a good night.
Yep. Bye.
Okay, so I want to get to his answer though. Dragon Reborn can be female. I think the idea that the Dragon Reborn doesn't necessarily need to be only a male character, that's really important. We see that play out in a number of different ways throughout the season. Also, we've learned some of the dragons. We also learned that some of the dragons of the past were women. How was that different? How did that affect the world? Well, so stupid. That's one change that flutters the whole series.
Flutters through the whole series.
So you're not making the Wheel of Time. Yeah, they move on, but it's so telling, right? Like, we already knew this, but now he says it from his own mouth. I think I'm better than Robert Jordan. I am not writing what he wanted. I'm writing what, and it's under the guise of, I'm writing what I think he would have written, but that's not the case. We know what he would have written because he wrote it. And and when he knew he was going to die, made a bunch of notes saying, hey, this is what I would have written. Okay? Yeah. So that Brandon Sanderson could come and finish the story. We know what he would have written because we have it, because he wrote it. Of course, obviously, everyone knows if Robert Jordan was still alive today, he'd be writing about transgenders.
Yeah, we wanted, the story that Robert Jordan had written, and that's, and we talked about this when we first started talking about Wheel of Time. It's like, that's not what we got. We did not get the story that we all love because, of what was told in the story and how it was written. And
do you know why Brandon Sanderson has been ignored by Hollywood for so long? The reason he hasn't had an adaptation until he's until the point where he's so impossible to ignore that Hollywood has to address it and make Brandon Sanderson movies now because he's a cash cow. What they should have been making Brandon Sanderson movies a long time ago. The reason that they didn't is because he's alive. Robert Jordan is dead. And now we can speculate on what he would have written now that he's not alive to defend himself. I hate these people. I hate them. I see your comment, Mark Clark, about the cement galoshes, and I'm not going to read it out loud, but it's great. Anyways, that's the Wheel of Time. This was super funny. This is also Wheel of Time. The Jordan Con just happened, and this just goes to show that even if you pander to these psychopaths enough, it will never be enough. They will never be satiated. They want your blood. They want complete and total submission and control. And there's no winning. So why would you start down that path? You don't need to pander to these people. But James, all caps, because it's all Thor, whatever, who is apparently suffering from multiple personalities. He was in charge of the panels, organizing the panels at JordanCon. And a lot of people were criticizing the panels at JordanCon for not being diverse enough. And so he thought that he would address it. It's so ironic. They eat their own, okay? If you slip up once, they'll skewer you. Diversity on panels is very important to me as a queer, non-binary person. I know that the fantasy community in general has a history of amplifying the voices of cishet white men, which is a term I have never heard before. I've heard cis white men, which I believe is a slur and is disgusting. Only we get to use that word. But apparently that's not descriptive enough. So it's cishet, which is cisgendered heteronormative. I had to Google it, which also translates to retarded. So apparently panels, the community has a history of amplifying the voices of white men. And that's a tradition that I want to veer far away from when choosing panelists for my track. First off, who cares? Why is that important? When choosing a panelist, I assume if you want to have a good panel, you want to have people who are qualified to talk about the subject. Why the hell does their skin color matter? If I'm watching a panel, I want to hear from people who know what they're talking about, regardless of their identity. Anyway, so regardless of the topic, having people from different backgrounds representing all different kinds of people is incredibly important. Sure, so is diversity of thought, right? For so many reasons. Seeing yourself represented on panels can mean everything.
Why does that matter?
I am not an author. I want to be. I'm trying to write a book. I'm not proactively engaged in it right now, but I'm world building. I'm taking notes, and I'll get there someday. I want to hear from people who know what they're talking about. I don't want to hear from losers like me who've never written anything. I don't want to see myself on the stand. Seeing yourself represented in panels can mean everything in a world where you're used to not seeing it at all. Who cares? I did some quick math, and based on my knowledge of the panelists on the Wheel of Time track, 72% were part of some marginalized group. I'm not going to say that word because I believe it's a slur. Non-white men. 50% were women. 30% were queer. 14% were non-white. 9% were non-binary. Is there room for... And like, this is already insane. If you actually look at demographics, like, this is not representational of reality. These numbers are way too high. If you're trying to actually like get accurate averages, which is, I assume it used to be all about equality, and that's no longer the case. It's about equity. Okay. But if you wanted true equality, you should want a representation of the general populace. These numbers are insane. Okay, 50% women, sure. But women authors is a lot lower. Whatever. These numbers are way blown out of proportion. And he says, is there room for improvement? Absolutely. Those are rookie numbers. We need to get those numbers up. Already, we need to blow them way out of the proportion and make sure that that's 90% non-white next time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But to look at a panel in the Wheel of Time track and say that it's full of white men is disingenuous, reductive, inaccurate, and harmful. If someone sees a tweet saying there's no diversity on panels, that may discourage people from different backgrounds to apply to be a panelist in the future, which I think is the opposite of what people want to see. I want the Wheel of Time track to be welcoming to every kind of fan. Well, if this is how you're screening panelists, you're contradicting yourself there. The fact that non-white exists as a category is pretty racist. We're exclusively looking for people who aren't white.
Yeah.
Like how is that welcoming? Anyway, we want to be welcoming to every kind of fan, except people who criticize the show, by the way, regardless of who they are. I truly hope that everyone that attended any of the panels enjoyed themselves. Well, probably not, since you didn't focus on merit. They were probably really bad panels. And if there's any way that I can do better in the future, please let me know. Oh, they let him know, But it's so insane.
Talent. That's funny. Yeah.
There you go. These people are mentally ill. It's really sad. And
well, it's difficult because the problem is they're adding to the problem by excluding.
Yeah.
And segregating, because that's really what they're doing. They're saying, oh, okay, well, we've got to segregate so that you guys, there aren't any white. There's only color. And then it's like, oh, well, that's seriously segregating.
Who do you want? Okay, if you're going to go, to the hospital to have a surgery, right? If you need a life-saving surgery that you will die without, would you want the best doctors in the world doing that operation, or would you want the most diverse doctors in the world doing that operation?
Yeah, exactly.
Martin Luther King had a dream. He wanted everyone to be judged by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin. And this is the opposite of that. People should be judged for their merits, for their abilities, for their accomplishments, not for this. The fact that anyone is even worrying about this, it just shows you how stupid they are. It's stupid. Anyway, Wheel of Time's a joke. We talked about it for too long. So here's some memes. Is this shirt ironic or not? I don't know. It's funny either way. If it was made without jest, it's hilarious. But it's also a pretty good troll. What do you think? I'm leaning towards that this is tongue-in-cheek, that it's a joke on purpose.
That's kind of what I'm
either thinking. Way, it's hilarious.
Yeah. That's what I thought it was.
I love it. It's got to be a joke, right? It's intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. Elon Musk is hilarious. Only 6% of people can handle this puzzle. These 3 people want to share 2 apples equally. How do you handle the situation with using only 1 stroke of the knife?
Oh my goodness. That's horrible.
It's good. Oh,
Terrible.
man, what a funny guy. I Elon Musk is doing some good stuff.
I think he's really trying to make the world a better place.
He is.
Yeah.
It's a little bit weird to see like everyone praising him as like, oh, he's like an amazing. He's not a conservative by any means. He's still pretty woke, you know. But but he's doing more for free speech than anyone ever, and it's pretty great.
Yeah, I think. Well, no, yeah, we don't need to talk about it.
Anyway, one more meme. Fox News fires the only people reason. Dang it, I screwed up. Fox News fires the only reason people watch Fox News.
Is Tucker.
Dude, the Tucker Carlson firing is insane. I know a lot of old people. I know a lot of people that watch Fox News. And I haven't polled them, but I've heard them talk. I would be shocked to find more than 5% of those people watch anything other than Tucker Carlson.
Really? That's funny.
He has the highest rated show in that demographic of all time. Like it's insane. And they fired him for talking about January 6th. So anyway, that's all the news I got for today. Looks like everybody left us. I have a list. I have a whole bunch of movie recommendations. But I guess this episode will be our top fives, and then we can get more specific later. I've got a list. I've got it broken out by genre.
Dang, I was gonna make a list.
We'll make a list for next time.
Okay,
I've got some recommendations.
I will definitely do that then.
But if we're done talking, then let's end the show with I have a recommendation that everyone should watch. And I guarantee you've never heard of it. Unless you've gone to film school, you've never heard of this movie.
Oh, okay.
It's French. It's in French. It's subtitled in English. Everyone on Earth should watch the movie A Town Called Panic.
Town Called Panic.
It is a French stop motion. It's like
really
claymation, but like everything looks like a little kid playing with like toys. You know, but they're actually made of clay. They're not plastic because they move around. But it's about friends. There's a cowboy and an Indian and a horse, and they all live in a house together, and crazy stuff happens. It is
A Town Called Panic.
A Town Called Panic. Yes, I actually found it for free. There was a website that was streaming it, and I should have written it down.
Okay.
It's I'd never heard of it, but let me look it up real quick. It is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. It's genuinely amazing animation. And don't watch. Oh yes. Oh, you can watch it on Amazon. It's not available on Amazon. Never mind. You can't. Where is it? I might have to put it in the comments. Plex. I believe it's Plex. Yeah. Never heard of this. You can watch it on with ads on a website called Plex. This movie is hilarious. It's whimsical. It's charming. It feels like a little kid playing with their toys, right? Because they're literally toys. Like it's a cowboy and Indian toy, and a horse and horse, cowboy, Indian, and horse, and they go.
How long is it?
It's like an hour. No, it's like 75 minutes. So it's French. There was a TV show. They would do shorts, and it got popular, and so they did a movie. And they have some English dubs. There are some of the episodes of the TV show that have English dubs. Don't watch them. Don't watch it in English. It's dumb. Watch it in French. I haven't seen the TV show. I'm planning on looking it up and seeing if there's a place where I can find it. But watch A Town Called Panic, 2009, 75 minutes. You will not regret it. It's so much freaking fun.
All right, I'll see if I can do that.
Yeah. That's my recommendation. That's my deep cut.
All right, you've heard that here tonight.
It's one of those like, just trust me, it's good, you know.
Okay.
But then you're like, really? This is good. This is, and then you're like, oh yeah.
Right. Awesome. Those are definitely the best kind.
Mark, I don't even want to know what that movie was called. But I'm glad that you have physical copy. Buy physical media, guys. Yeah, the streaming thing, I think it's going to peak. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that they can just retroactively edit things. They're constantly doing. Star Wars isn't Star Wars anymore. Anyway, that's it. We'll be back next week with some more stuff, some more movie recommendations, some more fun, some more friends, and I want to get some White Cloaks on the show. I want to go on there. They have a YouTube channel, and they're really funny. White Cloaks, but I'm on the Discord. I just joined though, so I don't want to like, hey, I have a YouTube channel. You know, I'm trying to make friends first. I don't want to just be like, I just joined so I can promote my YouTube channel. No, I joined because I want to get the word out that the White Cloaks are still alive.
Yeah, definitely.
But
that would be great news. Yeah, I definitely am not excited about next season of Willow.
No, I'm not excited either. I'm ready. Finish book 3. I'm ready.
Yeah, I should do that.
It's good. It's really good. I can't decide now if I like 2 or 3 better. It's like I used to always say 2 is my favorite, just because. But then I reread book 3, and I'm like, oh, but I don't know. It's pretty good. I really like book 3. It's just the ending. It's the ending of book 2. It's hard to beat. It's so good. The last third of the book, really, it gets so wonderfully dark. And
I was gonna say because you're literally like, oh, all hope is lost. Like,
it's such a good twist and whatnot, and it's wonderful. Apparently, we're gonna have to watch Picard season 3 though.
Okay, sounds good.
No one ever says the Shadow Rising. That's book 4, right? Yeah, Dragon Reborn, Shadow Rising. I get 4 and 5 mixed up. Shadow Rising, and then the I gotta Google it now. Is book 4 the Shadow Rising?
I think so, because it's Shadow Reborn and then The Great Hunt, or is it? No,
Dragon Reborn is 3. Shadow Rising is 4.
Yeah.
Shadow Rising is good. The problem is Fires of Heaven is better.
Yeah, that's fine.
Shadow Rising is really good. It's also a little bit too long. Like the traveling through the Aiel Waste takes up a little bit too much of the book. And the finale is wonderful. But Fires of Heaven does everything that Shadow Rising does, but better. And you get Matt.
I love Matt. Like,
Matt starts getting the memories stuff.
Yeah,
and he fights friggin' the Shido boy. Oh man, not Ruark. Who's the bad Shido Aiel boy? Fires of Heaven is better than Shadow Rising.
I don't remember.
I also don't remember what the girls were doing in Shadow Rising. But yeah, I'm
Because
looking.
probably they were. Well, yeah. Is that when they are back at the tower again?
Yeah, they go back for a bit.
Yeah.
I just don't remember the plot line other than them. Oh, Cooladin. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on. Cooladin he's in book 4, but he is in book 5. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Oh man.
Yeah.
Come on. Book 5's better than book 4, right? Come on.
It's been a
Anyway.
while since I've read them, so I definitely need to reread them again.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Thanks for
All
tuning
right.
in. Thanks for watching.
Sure.
It's always a blast. Anything else to say?
Good.
Last words. Okay. Bye.
And now it is time to say goodbye.
We had a great conversation.
It's been fun. But all good things must come to an end, and the goodest ending I can think of is...
Right now, this moment, this night.
So I guess we just say goodbye.
So, goodbye.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day. But come back next week for more outrageous bloopers.
This is the end.
Well, there's only one thing left to do.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.